So I'm participating in probably the craziest challenge I've ever done before. And the goal of the challenge is to try to make some money. But here's the crazy part. There's going to be 6 developers working on this project, and I'm one of them. So I'll be the first developer and only get 2 hours to try to come up with the concept or the idea for this app. Everyone's put their ideas into a hat, more like a GitHub README actually. And we're basically going to be taking, I'm actually going to be the one that's going to choose the idea. And I need to figure out what's the best idea I need to work with. And the time constraint is 2 hours. So right now it's 11:01. I've already wasted a minute doing this intro, but we're going to get right into it right here. And I'll be able to show you the GitHub repo. So today I'm also going to get into a little bit of kind of what my approach is to plan this app. And I need to make sure that everything's documented and ready, because the next person who's going to take this doesn't even know anything. They'll just be basically hopping on and grabbing the README. So they're not going to be able to watch this live stream. They're not going to be able to interact or ask me any questions. Literally, it's just YOLO. Imagine this relay race going from, hour 0 to hour 12. And by the end of this, we're going to actually launch it on Product Hunt. And the goal is to have it set up with authentication, with payments, with database and everything, so that people can actually log in and use the app. So I imagine a lot of people like me have been doing a lot of vibe coding, and this is probably the best opportunity to put my skills to the test, but not only for myself, but together with a team. So I'm really excited to have you on. And I'm basically live on all platforms. So you can see me right here on TikTok, on YouTube and everything. So let me just go ahead and start getting into the mix of things, because I don't really have a lot of time left. So the name of the project is basically called 6 Devs, 1 Project. And this is gonna be really, really killer as far as how we're gonna make this happen. And I need to do is basically kind of choose the idea here. And so I'm gonna take you through this process and how we go. A couple of things, like I said, I'm gonna be using Cursor. I'm going to be using probably V0 for some of the ideation, and probably ChatGPT and some other things to do some of the like curating and figuring out like which ideas are a little bit feasible and stuff. But let's just kind of take a look here. So the first developer is supposed to start here. And our responsibilities is to choose a concept from the idea pool. So these are the different concepts that we have. So we have basically a lovable date planner. We also have a Google Maps trip companion, which would be really interesting. We have a voice translator, but make it you. Okay. And then an AI-powered smart note taker. Okay. And the medical PDF translator, and then a mental health meditation app. So what I'm going to do first is just going to grab some of these ideas, and then I'm going to throw them into ChatGPT. And the goal of it is, if our goal is to actually make some money and have people use it, I want some market research done as fast as possible to better understand which of these ideas is actually going to pay off the most. See, this is kind of the important part of the setup process, is to make sure that, let me kind of just get this going. So chatgpt.com, I have to learn to work really fast, because this time has no things here. Let's see, okay. So I'm also using a thing called Whisperflow, and I'll tell you a little bit about that in a bit. So what I'm going to do is just kind of talk into this thing. I'm going to say, below are 6 different ideas, and I need to find some of the top ideas right now that are going to be the most profitable for my challenge. I only have 12 hours, and I'm only have right now for myself 2 hours to plan this. And so I need you to go through and do some research and figure out which of the apps already have market penetration, and where can we go in with an offering or a pain point that we can solve as fast as possible. Everyone is working with a really tight time constraint, and if we could just ship one feature that we want to use, what's that feature for each of these apps? And I want you to rank them by the most money that you think is made. I also want you to do some research and see if you can find which of these app ideas already has a lot of traffic driven to it, so that we can ride the organic wave. So this is the way that I'm doing some app research here, and I hope, yeah, okay. And then what I did, and I can go ahead and send this, I'm using ChatGPT 03. It should automatically search the web here, and that should let us kind of do its thing here. And so I'm going to let this do its thing. I'm going to copy this exact prompt. I also use another thing called Scout. So Scout is really cool, because Scout kind of does a similar thing as 03, but I also find it really, really good for market research as well. So I'm going to say, do this and say research, and then I'm going to paste in everything that I said, and then let it go as well. So we're going to compare the two. Sometimes I like to use these different providers to understand like you may get different results, and it's really, really cool. So one of my favorite things about Scout is it's going to basically kind of make this agentic plan for us and then get back to us as fast as possible as far as like what direction we kind of need to go in. I'm also going to take a look and see what I'm going to want to vibe with as well. So let's see. So far, what we got here is it's currently searching the web for these different things. So there's a thing called Similar Web. And so Similar Web is going to basically take a look at the traffic for each of these different ideas and understand, so this is all happening all behind the scenes for us, which is really, really cool. So instead of me kind of wasting time, I'm going to try to parallelize some of these tasks. So I'm going to review them and just kind of see which ones am I really passionate about. Keep in mind, there are 5 other developers that I have not actually met. I think I've met maybe the person who's kind of running this program, but I don't really know. We didn't really discuss stack. We didn't discuss anything like that. This is my first time kind of taking a look at these ideas. And so as a team member, I just want to make sure that, I'm kind of doing at least some diligence here so that we have some runway, so that I can set them up for this relay so they can hand off. So for those, if you're just tuning in right now, the goal is to try to get an app at the end of this. And I only have 2 hours. And right now we're 6 minutes in and we still got some time left, but like, I don't know, this will go really fast. I think I've done this before. Not challenges. This is actually my first challenge. But this is kind of why I'm a little bit kind of under the gun here. But I feel like if we get a really good plan, the rest of the stage, especially with people who are vibe coding, should be able to roll pretty fast. So that's what's up. For those who are watching on TikTok, I guess you're just kind of watching me here. You can't really see my screen, but I'm kind of explaining a little bit of kind of my process. If you want to check this out, you can feel free to check it out at Fernando1337 is the handle. That you can go check it out on YouTube. I also have it on Twitch. I also have it everywhere else. You can actually see the screen, me typing in the prompts. And then the thing that I was using for the voice is called Whisper Flow. I'll show you in a little bit. And that basically allows me to push the button and it does the dictation super fast, because typing that out would have taken me a long time. All right, so let's see. Okay, so here, check this out. Why the top 2 win for a 12-hour sprint? So there's a medical PDF translator, and the other one is called Your Voice Translator. So let me kind of put myself a little bit bigger here. Kind of move this to the side as well. Move my little head as well. Okay, so I'm going to put this down here. Actually, I'm going to do this type of thing. All right, cool. So what we got going on here? So the medical PDF translator says it's super clean, super clear pane, crazy markups using existing human market. Tech stack is straightforward, or you're already wrangling PDFs and LLMs early. It's a one-off usage, so it's easy Stripe pay per document model, so no authentication system required. Okay, that's interesting. Your voice translator, basically eye-catching demo, sells itself on X and YouTube, leverages your existing 11 Labs familiarity and audience of creators. You can limit V1 to record, type, and hear yourself. No real-time streaming yet. Okay, that's interesting. If you have to choose one today, ship the medical PDF translator. It's the fastest to build and charge for, and use the remaining hours to tease the voice demo on social, priming audience for number 2 tomorrow. Okay, dang, this thing's like already moving super fast. So let's just take a look at the research real quick. It says a 12-hour profit hunt. It's called, I like this, profit hunt, not product hunt, which is pretty cool. So as far as ranking, damn. So there's an estimated monthly visits for medical PDF translation of 191 million. 191 million visitors look up this type of thing. That is massive. That's a massive wave. So even if you get like 0.01%, damn, what? This is, okay. Let's just say we convert not even 1% of the traffic, like 0.05% of the traffic. What is a conversion like of 100 and 0.05%. So like if we were to run ads for this specific app and we were to convert like not even 1%, we're saying like half of that, which is 0.05, right? Like what would that actually look like in terms of number of people that we would convert? So that would be like 95,500. And if we charge like $100 an app, that's almost $1 million in a month. That's almost $1 million. Did you, bro? This is insane. Like, this is crazy. Okay, I think the math is mathing, right? Am I making this up? I don't know. I could be making this up. So yeah, that's what's up. Okay, damn. Whoa. I mean, to me, just based off of numbers, the pain is urgent. It's expensive. Patients routinely pay $50 to $2,000 per document and wait days. And there's no HIPAA level claims needed if you just label the output as informal. So you charge per page, or you do a $9.99 for the first doc bundle. I mean, I'm down to make $1 million, split it with these other people I haven't even met yet. Like, to me, that makes a lot of sense. The Your Voice Translator, as far as estimated monthly visits for this like keyword and trend, it looks like it's 19.7 million, which is also extremely high. And so the viral demos, obviously, like that's pretty cool because it's very viral. And I think that's a really good viable idea. So I think to me, like the first two definitely make sense as far as how they ranked it. AI smart note taker like Otter AI, is 7.4 million. That's a lot of traffic already. So like every remote team already pays like $10 to $30 per user. So that's a really interesting aha. The Google Maps trip companion is 5.7 million, like as far as traffic. So if you just convert that, yeah, I mean, all of these are definitely viable ideas, which I find really interesting. The lovable date planner marks really low. So it's fun, shareable, but couples rarely pay more than $5 once. So good for email capture, not really good for revenue. So I don't know about y'all, but I think this medical PDF translator, I mean, from a technical standpoint, let's kind of talk through this a little bit. So what I'll need is a model to take a PDF and basically convert that into text. But then we'll need something to then translate that into a different language. And the pain points that I find interesting here, so let's just kind of read through the project here just to kind of go over the details. So as far as project ideas, it says like upload medical PDFs and get quick human readable translations. So the example usage would be like translating post-hospital visit documents from like French to English, or solves a real pain point, a real story. So a friend got a $2,000 quote and it would have taken them a week to get this translated. So it's not a replacement for legal or official medical interpretation. And I think there's a couple of different threads to pull on here that I really like. Is like, one, it saves people's lives, or can save people's lives. And the stories that people would give for the feedback, like, hey, I did this and I saved like $1,000 or several $1,000s and I got this back right away. And on top of that, my mom was able to whatever the hospital or whatever the different things are. I think that's a really like emotional pool, but like this is kind of why I like doing this stuff, because now you're going to be able to use AI for good, right? So solving a real world health problem, like this is actually a real problem in the world. A lot of people search for it, which is absolutely bonkers. I've never seen 100 million people, like, wow. And if we even just convert less than 1% of the traffic, like 0.05%, that's easy $1 million a month app, easy. Like that's not even like any add-ons, nothing. This is just like one feature to build as fast as possible. Yeah, the second thing is just literally from like, let's just kind of think of the architecture real quick. I just need a vision model or a language model to get the document, to do the conversion for the language, and then output it. And then as far as Stripe Link or Polar or whatever we use for that stack, they charge it, they pay, they come back, we do the execution of whatever thing they need to do. To me, I think that's it. I think let's cook, fam. So, big shout outs to Zoe as well in the comments. Tech friend, what's going on as a member? What's up? Who was able to join this? This is actually done through, there's like 5 devs or 6 devs total, me including one of them, that were chosen. And we're basically tapping in as far as like making this idea come to possible. So as far as ideas, I think to me, if I'm going to set the team up for success, I think it really makes sense that we're just going to go through with this medical one, because it's just like the potential is actually really massive. So the relay format is each developer gets 2 hours to work on it before handing off. And basically here's a full rundown. So it's basically from planning it. So I'm developer number 1, and I'm doing the concept, MVP, and like product requirement docs, or PDR, I guess. And then the person number 2 is going to do like the front end skeleton. And then the 3 is like design, branding. And then the next dev will be then taking in and doing the backend APIs, auth security, and then 6 will be launch, QA, product hunt and stuff. So all the work is going to be done, like I'm streaming right now, but the developer won't be able to see whatever I'm doing. I'll have to hand off the project and tell them like everything that I've just basically have told you, but then put it into this like this README doc here. So yeah, I think, let's see, planning, concept, MVP, PDR. So let me just start kind of planning this, since I've been talking a lot and I've not really been I've been yapping a lot, but not really just been, you know, kind of putting this together as far as like a formal document. So I think H2. So we're going to go with, this medical PDF translator. Sheesh, this is insane. If we can pull this off and we go on Product Hunt and we launch, bro, this would be massive. All right. I'm getting too ahead of myself. Let's go. Let's just ship. I'm just going to ship software. I'm just going to focus on shipping. I'm going to lock in, fam. Let's go. All right. So upload medical PDFs, get quick human readable translations. And then why? I think it's a pretty clear why to me, but I'm going to let my folks know why. And I'm going to basically rank. Okay. So what I'm going to say is, this already gets a lot of traffic, is a very high pain point, and is extremely profitable. And then I'm gonna paste this in. All right, so this would be the stuff that I hand off. And then I think what I might do is just share this link, so that, create link. Cool. Make this chat discoverable. No, I'm good. Copy link. Okay. Failed to copy. Come on. Update link. Copying, copied. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna put this here. All right, cool. All right. So that'll be that. So why? Let's put this stuff. So I'm using Notion, by the way. I like to use Notion for my notes. Part of it is just, it's so easy to do things like this. So I hit the space bar. So, and then what I do is just drag in my little things and keep hierarchies of notes. I'm not sponsored by any means, but Notion, if you want to throw me a bag, I'm happy to chat. But yeah, no, I like to use Notion. I've always been using Notion a lot to kind of keep track of my ideas here. Okay, so now that we have this here, we have to pick a concept, which we got, build a front-end skeleton, core ideas, baseline functionalities you'll have. Okay, so concept, MVP, PDR. Low key, I think I'm just going to start to build it in Vercel. Okay, so let's see. MVP, PDR, okay. So what I'm going to use is V0. And I like V0 to kind of prototype my ideas, because it's maybe faster than to just write up a whole bunch of requirement documents, and I'll get some usability like immediately. And then as far as Mistral, I think Mistral.ai have these like they have one of the frontier language models right now for like this PDF parsing. They marked the highest on these benchmarks as far as solutions. Let's see, solutions, use cases. Try the API products. La plateforme, AI infrastructure, pricing, AI tooling. Okay, let's see, Mistral, AI, PDF, parsing. OCR, yes, Mistral OCR, that's what it's called. So March 6th is when they drop this, and it says we are approximately 90% of the world's organization data stored documents. This is a big deal. Okay, yeah, they have basically one of the state-of-the-art document scanners. So like, this is like, they have tables and figures, and you can have them in a document, and then the OCR result will just basically show up in like this nice markdown style thing with the actual images in there, which is absolutely crazy. So like even math stuff as well does really well. So you have like a picture of a document here on the left, and then when we throw it into the Mistral model, basically it'll come out like this on the right. Crazy, right? Same with this. Like what's also what I like about the Mistral model, which is really interesting, is the fact that it even does other languages like Hindi. This is crazy. Like a menu. Yo, this thing is cracked. Oh, so look at this. Even a photo of a document like this all sideways. Because people, if you're traveling, you're going to get these documents from like a hospital provider. And literally these people are going to be using their phone to take the pictures, and they're going to put them into our app. So we want to make this as easy as possible and as good as possible. Like, so this is one of the premier ones. Probably the reason kind of why I really want to go with this idea is because look at that. Man, this is good. This is I'm so hyped about this idea, but it kind of makes a lot of sense, actually. The feasibility is just insane. Top tier benchmarks. Okay, let's go. All right. So Mistral OCR. Okay, so I want to say, okay, let's go ahead and start building this app. I feel like we're just going to go tap in right now. So ask V0 to build. Okay, so I'm going to do command spacebar here. Say, I want to build an app where the user will drop in either an image or a PDF, and they're going to use the Mistral OCR language model to have that image or PDF converted into something that is readable for us. And we're going to give the Mistral model instructions so it can translate that document from one language to the other. This should be as intuitive as possible, and I want you to use the Vercel AI SDK to handle this. And in terms of interface design, I want you to make it as easy as possible so that even someone like my grandma can use it. There's going to be a wide range of people that are using it, and I want it to just feel like extremely intuitive. Think about even like the little details. For example, something that would show progress, that something's happening. We don't want the user to feel like it's stuck or hanging, because sometimes these documents can take a long time. And then once it does come into the user interface, we want to display the text, and the user should be able to export it or share it with their doctor or another friend. So we want to generate like maybe a link to share. And we also want to show the results so they can review the results as well. I basically used Whisperflow, and it got all of my instructions all basically in one shot here. And so now we're just going to go ahead and send that and just watch it cook, right? So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and see. Like, it'd be so crazy if we finished the app like in the first hour. It's like we add Stripe, we add the database, we add authentication. That would just be bonkers. Okay, so I'll create an intuitive. The app will allow users to upload images. So we can use Upstash, Neon, Supabase, Grok, Blob Storage. Okay, so intuitive document translation app. App will allow users to PDFs, extract text using OCR, and translate between languages. Okay. Why don't we just use blob storage, right? I think this is going to be just done in Vercel, so this will be super fast. Okay. Yeah, I'll just use that, right? Create. What is the create new? Yeah. Create. So I'm just going to create a project. So with Vercel, I already have a Vercel account, and it's just going to create a blob store database so that the images will just be sent right up. And then it'll probably use that once it's saved to go do the translation or do whatever it needs to do. This is awesome. This is a new feature that V0 offers, and this is kind of actually my first time using it, so you're seeing me do this. I'm going to move my head a little bit so that way you can kind of see what's going on. So on the left-hand side, it's basically has thought. Let's just go ahead and read its thoughts to understand what the language model was thinking about. It doesn't really show us what's going on here, but that's really strange. It's okay. We will survive, friends. All right, y'all. All right, cool. We are cooking, friends. Nice. So this is building a file uploader right now. I'm just kind of reviewing the code as it writes it. And then there's like a language selector, which is pretty cool. So we can do these different languages. As far as the app, it looks like it just did a basic, here's a file uploader component, and it has a suspense saying it's loading the files. Okay. And then as far as our file uploader, let's see what's going on here. It has handle drop event. So then it's going to animate or deal with us dragging a file and dropping it in here. And then it says maximum of 10 megabytes for the PDF. We can probably change that depending on what's going on. And then handle submit has an async function that's currently empty, and it's probably writing the thing for the AI SDK or kind of putting that in soon for us. And then here it's basically saying while it's processing, it disables the button so that people don't upload the files. And then this is processing. Oh, missing environment variables. Vercel URL. Okay, don't show again. No way. Do we have this app already? Upload an image and our AI will extract and translate for you. It's simple, fast, and accurate. Okay, so we'll translate to English, to French. And so like, if you have it a different file, so you can say PDF, images. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's awesome. Wow. Okay, so then I could just drag an image and it should be able to do it. Okay. And so let's just read how it works here on the side. And so it says users can drag and drop or select image files. I'm going to show my TikTok audience kind of what's going on here because they've been chilling. Let's see, flip camera. All right. Oops. Oh, hey. Let's see. Flip camera. Oops. I don't know. It's not really working here. Let's see. Okay. How it works. This document translation app provides an intuitive interface to upload documents, select the target language, view the progress, and clear progress interviews, review the results, and share the results. Get a shareable link. Okay. So it has draggable drop, progress indicators, language detection, sharing capabilities, responsive design, accessibility. So it uses Vercel Blob for secure storage, leverages Mistral OCR, implements AI SDK, uses server actions for secure processing. And, oh, hey. Oh, do you need to come in?
Just briefly.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let me.
Hey, are you doing something right now? I can come back later.
Yeah, I'm doing a stream, but I can open it up for you real quick. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll stay out of your way.
You're fine. Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah. Were you in the middle of it?
I still am, but it's fine. It's like a 2-hour challenge thing, and I was kind of delayed.
Yeah, it's just going to be very quick, like a cursory look. Yeah, and I won't disturb you again.
No, you're all
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah. Cool. Don't worry about it. Okay. Whoops. All right. Cool. So let me see if I can show people what's going on. Whoops. Yo, almost lost the stream here. Let's see. Flip camera. It's not letting me flip the camera. Okay, it does. Okay, cool. So this is the app. And this is the thing that's going on here with the translator. And let's see. Cool. Awesome. Cool. All right. We're back. Let's see. Okay, so let me just take a look at the code here. And so we have an actions file. And so the actions is the server action that's being called. And so this is what's going to be called when we upload the PDF. And in here, basically what it's doing, I'm just kind of reviewing the code just so I understand what's going on. So I can give it directions if it needs to improve whatever it's doing. So here we're basically saying it's defining that there's a file type, there's an image, there's a PDF, and this is an image file. This is a PDF document. It will extract all the stuff using OCR. And so it's basically building a prompt, and it's a little building a prompt depending on if it's an image or if it's a PDF. And it's actually telling the Mistral model that it's either or type of thing. And then what it does is it's giving it a blob URL. So the blob URL is being built because we, as soon as the user puts the file in, it's going to put it into our blob storage. And then that's going to build the URL and give us back to it. And then that's what's being sent over via the prompt. And so as far as Mistral, the model is being called with generate text. And that's something from the AI SDK that's being used here. And it's using Mistral large latest. I think there's a Mistral OCR. I'll have to look up the exact model that we'll use and the exact message format, but that can be fixed later, which is nice. So detect the source language, detection results. Your language detection expert, identify the language. So then it looks like when we actually send it over, we're going to detect the language in the OCR that's extracted, which is really cool. And then it just gets the first 1,000 characters to understand what language it is. And then it uses that for the source language. And then on the UI, we're actually asking the user saying, what language do you want to translate it into? We may not even need this step, but this is just the first part of the prototype to get it going. And we're just trying to get something off the ground. So it makes a shareable link, and it basically, if I'm running this on localhost, using port 3000. If not, it uses the Vercel URL, which is what we would use to deploy it to get the shareable link. Bro, we just did this in one shot. It's only been like 30 minutes, and we already have like a full. I mean, I haven't even gave it the file or done the things, but can you believe like how fast this build? Like I could have spent 30 minutes writing out all the requirements documents for this entire app, but we already have code. We can play with it. We can start defining and refining super fast. And so the way that this challenge works is I only got 2 hours. So now I only got 90 minutes, and I still have to write up documentation and kind of explain this. But what I want to do is just kind of set my team up so they already have code to play with, and then start to maybe do the handoff documents towards the last like 30 minutes. So I just want to get this at least sort of working and have some of the models defined to hand off to the next person so that they can take this and start kind of running with it. And basically what I've built is just a single usable app as a prototype. And then the team that will take on this can maybe do the landing page. And then the landing page would be the one that maybe is gated by creating an account to sign in and so forth. So that'd be really interesting. So someone says like, insane. I wonder how the new V0 compares to the Tempo MCP update. You know, I haven't done that yet. I still need to play around more with it. I've been playing around a lot with V0, and I really, really like V0. One, because it's familiar with the AI SDK, as you saw, in one shot, set it all up, has all those documents in there, it knows what to do. And then two, because I use ShadCN a lot too, it already has that in its context. And so it builds apps really fast with them. And then what's nice is that the designer later on in this challenge can just take that design system and then just build on top of it. So I just have to focus on what was the idea. So we're basically getting medical documents. And the reason why we're choosing the medical documents field is because it has 191 or almost like, over 150 million traffic per month, where if you convert only 0.5% of that, that's easily $1 million a month app. And to me, it's just a no-brainer. I mean, this is worldwide. We're talking about multiple languages. We're talking about people who travel a lot and who have different things that can just pay a one-time fee to get this stuff translated. So the opportunities are massive. And to me, that's kind of why I chose this field. Two, where now the reason why we can do this now is because people were charging $2,000 or more to have these documents translated, and it would take a week. And this is something that AI is really good at. And we saw these benchmarks. People are sending photos, like sideways PDFs, and it's able to actually convert that into text and with the images and everything, which is really amazing. So now we have these two big waves that are in our favor. So we have people searching for it. We have this thing. We have this possible high conversion marketplace. If 10 other people enter this space and do the exact same app, the only differentiator would be trust. So if the hospital recommends us over somebody else's app, like, okay, we recommend these people, we trust them because of whatever, then you get even more traffic, right? So I think, I think the other part of it is humanity, right? Humanity is important to me because saving people's lives, like with an it's not like a medical document. We're generating something informal to at least get people to hand this off or generate new appointments for doctors that you need to do in your native country is very important. And this actually came from a need. So it's really, really cool that we're able to kind of take a look at this and just prototype it super duper fast. So let's go, Ray. You make it look so easy. Dude, this is, man, I'm blown away right now. I can't believe it. Yeah. This is, let's go. I'm so hyped right now. I'm so hyped. All right. So I haven't even ran the app. I'm pretty sure it will work, but okay. So as far as user interface, I can try a V2, but I don't know. I feel like I'll leave that to the designer. I just need this to work. You know what I mean? Like right now, my job is to just define the MVP, which we did. We chose the idea, and I show you why, because it's extremely profitable. It's a real pain point. There's a ton of traffic. So like, I'm just saying, like, if there's already a mega wave, why not surf it? I'm not trying to like create a wave just to surf it. And that's kind of really cool. Yeah. Damn. Okay. I'm blown away right now. Sorry. All right. So now let's take this and let's get real with it. Right. So I got to lock in right now. I'm wasting a little bit of time, but Let's go ahead and lock in. All right, cool. So how do we get this code and then put this into something like Cursor so that we can really start cooking with this, right? And then so that I can set my team up with the different rules and all the different stuff that we need to do. The way to do that is to share chat, download project settings. Can I download code? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and just download the zip file. All right, cool. So I should be able to just download that zip. And so I really don't know if it generated any secrets or any other things. Oh, it did. Okay, so it did generate like a project with the, I think the integrations that it has is the Vercel blob storage. And so that'll be in here. And so I don't really want to share those right now on the stream. So I'm just kind of changing the window. But I do have like a Vercel blob URL. And I'll have to somehow figure out how I can put this into the environment variables so that my friends can actually use this. And maybe I'll just give them, maybe I'll share the project so that way it'll be in the project secrets. So they won't necessarily be able to see it, but they'll be able to pull in if they do a git pull and pull the project in. Because it basically looks something like this. I'll show you. So in here, Vercel gives you, when I hit create blob storage, it creates a little blob store, and it even tells me like, here's a database, it's currently available. And then it gives me a token here. And then it tells me how to use the token in my app and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. So that's kind of that there. So let me just go back just to make sure I don't leak anything and everything's okay. Okay, cool. We are back. All right. So I have a zip file, which I need to now open. And so I'll open this. So I have this thing here. And so this is the thing that I need to go and grab. I think the next thing I need to do is actually grab this repo and start updating this repo with the things I need to do. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to get terminal. Actually, what I'm going to do is open Cursor. Cursor. Okay. So Cursor. And then here's the terminal. I'm going to move my head. So that way I'm just chilling down here or something. All right, cool. CD workspace. I like to keep my stuff in like workspace directory. Git clone and then paste the URL. All right, so now that I'm here, CD 6 devs, one project, and then Cursor dot will just basically open up the file in Cursor itself. I know, right? I'm using Cursor instead of I'm a little, not that I'm lazy to open up a terminal window, but that's basically kind of what it is, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. All right. So this is the project. This is the README. And what I need to do is to put those folders, like whatever's in here, in there. So I should be able to just copy stuff over. CP like this, right? Oops. There's a README file already in here, huh? Actually, what I'll do is reveal in Finder. Okay. .readme. So if I hold the Option key, it does a little plus here. I don't know what this .readme file is. .readme? Yeah, there's nothing in here. Okay. That's weird. Okay. Awesome. Okay. All right. So I think I got everything in here. Let me just make sure that I'm not missing anything from my folder. Let's see, CD. Okay, there's no other hidden files. There's a git ignore. Oh, yeah, I'll probably copy that. .git ignore to user/workspace 6. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm copying the git ignore file from V0 and I basically put it in here and it's just running the cp command. So copy, and it's like the source to the destination is kind of where I'm doing it. And then you can see I was working through the downloads folder, which was the document translation app. And then this is actually the 6 devs 1 project. And so what I need to do now is I have this here. And what I want to do is just, I want to make sure I can run the app and see it. So bun install. It says it's using PNPM, but I'm just going to use bun because I love bun. It's so fast. All right, kids. Hey, Ray, checking in from the UK. Oh, yeah. So what we're doing here is called the 6 devs 1 project. And the goal of it is basically I'm kicking this off and we have to figure out what type of app that we need to make out of the 6 ideas to be profitable. And we're going to launch this on Product Hunt. Here's the kicker. The 5 other devs will not know anything until they get the project handed off to them. This is literally a relay race. So I'm the first person who's working on the project. So I've already chose the actual product out of the 6 ideas. And then I've already set up like an MVP for it. I was going to write the requirements docs, but it would have taken me too long to write the requirements docs. I just went straight to V0 and we already have a prototype using the stack that I want to use, which is basically Next.js. We use V0 for the prototyping. We're using the AI SDK. We're using Mistral for the language model because it's really, really good. And then from there, I haven't set up the Stripe payment link. Right now, I set up a Vercel blob store, and that blob store is basically going to allow us to share that document out. So if the patient wants to send this to their doctor, send this to a loved one, they're not just going to copy this text. They could just send that link in an email and they'll be good. So that'll be really, really nice. And that's how you're able to get this like translated document out to them. So that'll be really, really chill. So that's kind of the challenge. And we all only have 2 hours each. So there's 6 people total. And so there's basically 10 more, after this is done, I only have like an hour and 15 minutes left to hand this off to the next person. So they're going to read this documentation and be like, yo, what the hell did Ray do? I don't even know what's going on. So I need to capture this knowledge. They're not going to be allowed to watch my live stream. So they're, everything I've been talking about has been kind of captured here. So we're kind of going along and that's kind of what we're cooking with. So that's what we're building right now. And the goal is for, this to actually be profitable and launch into the, with Product Hunt and have people start to use this thing. So I already installed with bun and then I could just do bun dev just to make sure it works. Localhost 3000. I don't know what's going on. Localhost 3000. Okay, cool. All right, sweet. Damn. Nice. Can I select the file? This is awesome. This is so crazy. It's really, really cool. Okay, so we already have the app running. We can select the different languages. This is so crazy that we're able to get like moving super duper fast right here. Okay, so this is clearly running. This is already up in here. I'm going to remove the PNPM package lock because we're using bun. I don't know why that's there. Oh, my bad. I am working out of the wrong folder. I'm going to go ahead and hit plus to get a new terminal window open. So I'm actually supposed to be in 6 devs 1 project. And so that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to just do rm YAML. Okay. So all of our packages are defined in the package.json. And that's how we're doing the package install here. So I'm going to just do bun install. Cool. So we should be up in bun dev. And so I'm just going to go back to Safari, refresh this. This should be our current document translator. Yep. Yeah. Cool. And the way we know is just go back to localhost 3000. And then you'll see the logs down here. Whoops. In the logs down here, basically it'll show us that we are doing our thing over here. Cool. Sweet. Okay. So we have this here. So far we have a prototype. So far we have the code working here. And we have all of our stuff over from V0 all up in here. It's already running. We have the stuff installed. This looks really, really good. I think I need the environment variables up in here, and then we should be good to go. Wow, this is so ridiculous how impressive it is. and how fast we're able to move on a prototype. Okay, so we got the bunlock file. We got everything in here. And I think, yeah, this is for the sharing. This is beautiful. Okay, so we have this here. Just making sure we're not checking anything else in that shouldn't be checked in. So what I'll do is I'm deleting these files. I'm doing these types of things. And what we can do is just check everything in. So I could just say, yeah, everything's good, right? We're just YOLO. More actions, changes, stage all changes. Okay. So we're staging everything. So unstage and stage. So this will basically add everything to our repo. And this is from the entire project. I don't see any environment variables or anything in here that's going to be leaked. And then I'm going to hit the little generate commit message. So on Cursor, you can do that and it generates the connect init message. And this will just basically say, okay, commit. Okay. And then I'm going to sync the changes. So the syncing of the changes basically pushes the code up to the repo where it's remote there. And we should be able to see it there. So let's go to check this out. If I hit refresh, let's see this project. I need to minimize this one here. My bad. All right, cool. So we have the 6 devs. Yeah, sheesh. Let's go. Yeah, we're in here now. Okay, so we now have the project from V0. We have pushed it into Git. We have now got it running locally, and it's basically running. It doesn't yet generate the documents or do the different things, but I basically have the scaffolding set up kind of for the idea for us that we need to do. Does each person in the relay have specific requirements to stick to or just a continuation? Will be interesting to see how the project evolves, and this will be epic. So each person in the relay does have responsibilities. So let's kind of go over that right now. So I, as developer number 1, was to choose the concept and define the MVP, which is kind of did, and to create the product definition report. So we don't yet have a project name, which we still need to do. The target audience, definitely we have here of like people who need these documents translated. The MVP feature list is pretty simple. It's literally just drag the PDF, give a PDF, either a photo or PDF, and then have it translated to another language and then make it shareable so that people can share it to another friend. As far as tech stack, we've kind of already settled that we're using Next.js, Tailwind, that comes with the thing, Vercel AI SDK, ShadCN for the design system, and then, yeah, the design direction, if relevant, I think we're going to leave that for the designer to do. And so we have some basic product and then a handoff plan for dev 2. And so that's kind of what we have there. So the next dev will basically do the front end skeleton, which is kind of what I already started doing, but they can take a little bit further. We still probably need a landing page for this, which would be super awesome, so that next person can focus on that. Dev 3 will just do the design and branding. So that could be probably possibly part of the landing page. Any handles for the backend APIs, which we kind of already handled, which is why I chose the AI SDK because it's already very reliable. And then the blob store that Vercel gave us. I mean, like Dev 4 just has to just chill, right? And then auth and security, that can be done super quick. I prefer Clerk for authentication because it's super fast. And it's just easy to set up. They already have like a Stripe payment integration thing too that I have not yet tried out. So just FYI, but I'll leave that for the other dev. I'm basically just kind of setting them up right now for success. And then lastly, basically any QA and things that we need to fix just to make sure that we can go live and have it ready for testing. So these are the different ideas. And I did a lookup using ChatGPT, and the ChatGPT did this research. And because it has an estimate of 191 million monthly visits, like this was a massive signal. And plus the pain and urgency of patients paying like from $50 to $2,000 for a document to be translated, and they're waiting days. Like that's just not acceptable in today's world. And so while we're not doing any like HIPAA level claims or anything, we could just give informal output that already helps people. So this is already a use case that's been proven. And so we're already kind of going with this. That's why we're going. There's some other ones like voice translation, which is interesting, which also has a lot of traffic, mostly because of like Toolify and like 11 Labs. But the other ones really didn't rank that high. And I want the best chance of success because if we generate $1 million a month, hey, divided by 6, let's go. I'll take that every day. Okay, so that's kind of a little bit of background there. All right, so yeah, that's the project. And I think right now I want to go into Cursor. Somebody told me about this. You could do slash generate cursor rules. So this one is like a pro tip that I learned, and it's supposedly supposed to generate the rules for us. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to do this. Generate cursor rules. Just go. So I'm going to give it to the agent, and we're going to just basically let it do its thing. Let's see. This will be wild. So it's looking at the project structure, MDC. I don't think there is one yet. Okay. Oh, okay. So it's looking. Do I have a cursor rules? Oh, it's generated one. Nice. This rule outlines the main directories and key configuration files, referencing them according to Cursor's guidelines. If you need more specific rules for component usage, hooks, API, or structure, let me know. Okay, I think let's just read through it. I'm going to accept. So this is the rules file that it generates for our project, and this will be included manually. So we can say automatically or manually. And so manually basically means we have to like @reference it and put it into our project so that it can do its thing. So the main application code is in the app. It's basically just kind of giving it an overview of our project to generate things. And then, so I think what I want it to do is maybe kind of do the following. I want you to generate a new rules file to go into more details of how we're using the Vercel AI SDK for this project. The goal of this project is for us to get documents and have them translated into another language via an image or a PDF. And we're using the Vercel AI SDK here. And we're using more specifically the Mistral model. And these rules should be helpful for the agent to continue to build off this concept. Once the images are processed and saved, we're using a Vercel blob store, and that generates a shareable link to be sent out. So I'm going to send that out. And so it says Vercel AI SDK usage. So basically what I'm doing right now is I'm generating the cursor rules so that my team can take this and then continue to build off of this. And then from here, I'm also going to generate the README files. So the README file is going to be super helpful to hand this off because we still have like an hour left in my part of the challenge, and I just kind of am setting up some of the project structure. And I know I'm kind of doing this backwards, but that's just kind of the way my mind works. I like to kind of get into things because I already have it in my head. I'm already thinking too fast, and writing it down kind of slow me down. So this is the writing part now comes kind of afterwards, right? So let's see. Okay, so. AI SDK usage. Let me just accept and read it. It's probably a lot faster this way. Okay, so it's telling it I have a rule that is generated. This is Vercel AI SDK usage and how the translation workflow currently works. And so what I'll do is probably generate and update the README file, and then maybe tell it to do that. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is just going to add context here. So I'm going to do README. Okay. And then I'm also going to add these two files from cursor rules. So I'm just going to drag those files from the cursor rules directory and then drag them into the over here, as you can kind of see, and say, I'm going to tell it these instructions. I want you to update the README because for this challenge, I am developer number 1, Fernando, and I have selected the translation project as our core thing. And I want you to review our code and also want you to review the project structure and Vercel AI SDK usage and update this README file so that another developer who will take on their secondary part and the other developers for this project will understand what's going on when they review this README file. And so I have this request here, but before we make any changes to the README file or anything like that, what I'm going to go ahead and do is just go ahead and commit the current changes. So I'm going to hit stage all changes. I'm going to push this up. I'm going to hit the little commit message. And so this commit message, basically what it's going to do is we're just going to push up the changes for these rule files that I've generated. So that way, if we change the README too drastically, I can still revert back and so forth. So yeah, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's see. Cool. So it's going to update the README. All right. Let me check in on the Discord and see how everyone's doing over there. Let's see. Discord fam, are you still alive? Let's see. Announcements. Oh, cool. Yeah, people are posting the thing. Event just started. Damn, we're cooking. All right, all right. Cool. So now the README is being updated. So README. Let me go ahead and just take a look at this. Let's kind of take this off the side. Welcome to project selection and MVP, Dev1, Ray Fernando, selected project, document translator, upload image or PDF, extract using AI. The result is a shareable link to the translated document. Why solves a real problem, leverages AI models, MVP feature list. Okay, this looks pretty good. What was the prompt used to decide the project? Zoe, let me show you real quick. So in ChatGPT, what I did was I basically did a voice dictation and I said, below are 6 different ideas. I need you to find the top ideas right now that are going to be most profitable. So the way I told it is like kind of my constraints of like what's going on in this project, what my challenge is. And then I think the most important part were defining like the research. So telling it specifically that we're doing some research and to figure out which apps already have market penetration. So in the books that I've been studying for startups, mind you, I am no startup expert at all. And so is my system audio muted? I think, can y'all hear me? I think my, I just want to make sure. Okay. 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 Yeah, you can hear me. In things that I've been reading about startups, they say it's really important to go into an existing market where people are already either searching for this, people are already using an app. And if you enter into this space and just even take like 1%, that's already quite a bit of traction. And so you may have a lot of ideas and things that could be really fun, but the best ones tend to be the ones that are already have people paying for them. So like if you were to go and sell tacos on the street, if you show up across the street, you'll actually, this is a really funny thing, but I wanted to share this. There's actually studies that are done like where like Starbucks and these different places will choose other coffee shops around them on purpose because the studies have shown is like if you add a competitor that's across the street, not only do they get double the traffic, but they get triple the traffic because the families will go to one and then another family member who doesn't like that coffee shop will go to the other coffee shop. And so that's what's amazing is that like this internet age kind of operates in the same way that like if you choose an idea that's already validated and you show up with your offering, then you can get a specific niche of people depending on the price point and just test the market. And so I was kind of like some of the reasoning behind that on the kind of why I say some of these things here. So I want to say where we can go with offering a pain point that we can solve as fast as possible. So that kind of puts the constraints on the model to think about these things and do some of the research and try to pull that information out from the stuff that it's doing on this web search. So everyone's working with a type. So I just kind of gave it some more background. So I want you to do some research and see if we can find which of these app ideas already has a lot of traffic driven to them. So that this other part is really important. So when you say traffic driven to them, and then so I basically copied and pasted what the stuff was from the repo. And what's nice about the ChatGPT O3 model is the O3 model is extremely good at web searching. So with web search, this is actually one of the top models according to, I think it's called Project Future, something like that. And they do benchmarking and they found the O3 model the best at agent calling for web. And this is what we want, right? And you saw it basically did 2 minutes worth of research and search SimilarWeb, which is a really pricey service, $200 a month, to go and grab some of this information for like market data, right? It isn't extensive, but it's enough to get us started with an MVP. And you see what it did here. I mean, it's super cooked and it sorted it by monthly visits for us. And it even gave us some reasons. So this is absolutely bonkers. So yeah. I just wanted to share this sauce and there's no gatekeeping here. I mean, the real truth is, I know I'm kind of launching on the sidebars, but it's really important for everyone to know. The real truth is that like you, me, there's like billions of people on this earth. AI is such a new thing into our marketplace that, dang, I have to do this little thing for TikTok so that it knows I'm a human and not like some bot. Okay. AI is changing this landscape where there's so many different problems and so many different use cases to solve. There's not enough people to actually make the apps for them. Even if there is an app for them, you have to like go produce it, get the feedback and keep iterating it to make it better and better. And right now it's probably the easiest time because we can search for these problems, find them, they're already validated ideas and start building on top of them and then kind of get the momentum that we need. So there's kind of like this little mini gold rush right now. And I'm just giving you the sauce because there's too many problems to solve. Like, I mean, you could take 5 of these other ideas. You could take the same idea and try to run with it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the way that I feel. It was configured based on the initial requirements scoped out for the project idea. Yeah, thank you, Mushley, for sure. I just wrote my own project so I can conduct deeper. Yep, definitely. Yeah, based off yours. Yep, for sure. Telephone and muting Essence, a brilliant communication creative game. Thanks, Ray. Yeah, cool, for sure. Yeah. All right, so we're now back to Cursor. And what I was doing was updating the documentation so that when my business partner or someone else who goes into this thing will be able to kind of take off this thing. So they said why it solves a real pain point for translating documents, leverages the AI, simple, useful, MVP feature lists is, yeah, so upload an image, extract text from document using OCR, text source language to So this is good because I was reading this over in the code, and this is actually from the code that I saw that we were reading and going over earlier from V0. And it's actually putting this into the MVP feature list, which is really awesome. And I didn't have to write it out, which is amazing. So this is the power of leveraging these models to do the work for us. Obviously, I'm kind of, yeah, we'll talk more about that later. Okay, so simple, friendly user interface. Yep. And then this is the stack that we're using. Brilliant. Design directions, clean, minimal, accessible, focus on clarity, ease of use, responsive, and mobile friendly. Okay, so the handoff for developer 2. So the front end skeleton is in place, C app/components, which we have here. And then this has the UI for it, basically. File upload language selection, backend language for processing is in our app actions. So the actions is the one that has the definition for the Mistral model. It may not be the right exact model, but I probably have to give it some more details and information as far as like which ones that we should be using. And then the project structure, it just basically tells the next person how it works. So the user uploads an image, the file is uploaded to Vercel blob store via public URL. It's generated. The Vercel. So this is actually, this went through my code and it is translating this back out to the README, which is really beautiful. And it's nice because I don't have to type this in. The AI did it for me. And so the Vercel AI SDK Mistral model is used to extract the text from the OCR, detect the source language, and translate the text to the target language. The results, okay. And then here's the key files and directories. Beautiful. Look at that. This is great. Dang, demo route for viewing shared documents. So the bracket with the ID is what's going to generate this ID every time we upload it. And that's going to change every time. So this ID is going to be unique. And it's going to be share / this unique ID. And that's what people are going to use to share the documents and stuff. The person who will take over the backend will have to deal with maybe deleting files and various things. So that way if people request to get them deleted, or maybe they'll only be live for so long before they are removed from sharing. Yeah. So components are the UI components. We have a file uploader, results display, and language selector. This is great. All this stuff looks really good. Implementation details. Yeah, this just goes over what we talked about the stuff. So like next steps, refine the skeleton, add error handling, polish the UI, add, see, this is nice. The language model took the README, took the code and understood the context here, and then just continued updating every single part of the README. This is beautiful. Wow. Yeah, I think, are there any more changes? Yeah. Planning. It already has a check mark. It's like, my job's done, guys. We're totally done with this. Sheesh. I'm going to accept. Man, this is nuts. Okay, so I'm going to bring back the sidebar here. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is just commit these changes. So I'm going to hit the little plus to stage the changes. And then I'm just going to say updated README type of thing. So I'll show you real quick before I commit the changes into here. So here is the project. Here's the mission. And here's everything we had. And I'm going to go ahead and go into Cursor, commit, sync changes. Yeah. Will you add sound for the blinds to hear what's in their PDF? I think right now as an MVP, probably not. I think if we have time, that could be an interesting feature. I want the way that I do development is like very product driven. So in terms of like needing that, if we have users that request that, I think it's a really great goal because the bigger the audience, the better. But sometimes it's okay to be really niche and just iterate with a smaller group of people just to get that user experience down. And adding a feature like that can eventually be trivial. Mind you, I'm still in this prototyping phase. So like the way that the code is architected may not necessarily be prepared and ready for that, but we don't want to overcomplicate it right now. And I haven't even really done a test with a real document to see how this actually really works. And if this model that I selected is the right model for it. But the bare bones and architecture is kind of there to kind of get us started, if you know what I mean. So, okay, so we have that in there. And we go to the Safari thing, we hit refresh, let's see. Cool. So now we got the cursor rules up in here. And then we have like all of the other changes for the document in here. Can we get the full prompts? Is that for like the research idea or the different thing? I'm not really sure. Okay. Let me move myself as well. So that way we can just chill. Chillin'. And yeah, okay, so here we are. Okay, so we have the image PDF power translation, upload a documented PDF extract using text OCR. Yeah, this is everything we did. This is beautiful. I feel like the next developer, I'm kind of really setting them up for success. Vibe is welcome. This is meant to be fun. Bring your weird. Yeah, that's what's up. Yo, big shout outs to the TikTok audience right now who's chilling. Watching the stream, and literally I don't think they've been able to see my display. And I would try to get the live stream going, but to share the display, and I couldn't really get that working. But maybe what I could do is try to share it this way, huh? Hold up. This is how I spill water on things. All right, let me show you a little bit of my setup right now, just so we're just chilling. So this is my TikTok display. Say hello, everyone. We are live. You can actually see my iPad down here. I got an iPad down there. I got my display. This is kind of weird Inception style type of thing. And then I have like a little book down here for the light. We're just doing pure vibes right now. And then I have this like basically like selfie stick looking like thing. And I'm seriously like cooking pretty crazy right now. But the thing is, like, you can't really see my screen, which sucks. And if you do see my screen, it's kind of backwards, right? So I'm going to see if I can make this so that it flips the camera. And then maybe you can watch my screen, huh? Like, that'd be more chill, I feel. Yeah, there's got to be a way to watch this so you can just like see my screen, but then it's like looks super awkward, right? Whoops, my bad. Dang. Yeah, I think I'm just trying to do too much. But yeah, I don't know. This is cool, but this will work, I guess. So you can see in the camera right now, like that's TikTok live stream, and it's literally looking at my screen here. So people are actually watching this thing. So they'll get to see everything really. And so, yeah, let's see if I can, yeah, I wish I had a phone or something to check, but yeah, that's interesting. So far, what we've been able to get was all of this structure here. Let's see. Yeah. I guess y'all are chilling right now. Okay. This is so wild. Okay, whatever. We're doing everything. And I'm also live on the Discord. So there's some type of Discord that's doing this thing. And so everyone's just chilling right now. There must be a Discord chat. I haven't even been keeping up with that either. Open chat. Are we cooking, fam? Are we cooking, fam? Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, awesome. I was just wondering how like everything's going here because it's kind of this is the first time that this group is doing this, and I've been like invited to kind of participate in this. And so like it took me a little while to get all the streaming stuff set up, if you can imagine, from like my camera there to TikTok to Twitch to YouTube to LinkedIn to X. So we're streaming pretty much, yeah, not only worldwide, but like to every single platform I possibly can. So yeah, we have 425 people who are watching on X right now. We got 13 people on YouTube. We got one person over on Twitch. We got a couple people over on TikTok, and we're building live right now. So yeah, just a little quick FYI. And I still have I have about 45 minutes left for this challenge on my part of the challenge. And so far what we've been able to do is just define the MVP. So we selected the project, which is the document translator, and it solves a real pain point. It has a lot of traffic. And so I think, yeah, and I was able to use ChatGPT, the O3 model, to help us do this. And so what I need to do next is kind of validate the AI OCR model and making sure that everything works accordingly. So let's go ahead and see if I can kind of figure that out. I need to find like a generic PDF. So I can say PDF medical document example, medical discharge example. So what I want to do is just try to see if I can get like a discharge summary or something. Drake Center. Okay. Okay, so we can just download this type of thing and see if I can translate it to another language. Okay, so what I want to do is this is how we're going to actually test our app. So in Cursor, okay, so now that we committed all the files and everything, let's just kind of do a quick test. So what I'm going to do is bun dev to run the thing. And so we're running our page. You know what? It's actually going to fail because we don't have the environment available for the blob store. So I think that's what's going to happen, but let's just go ahead and test things out. What I want to do is maybe test it out on Vercel itself. So let's go ahead and see if I can do that here, since it should be technically wired up there. So I want to translate this to Spanish, and I'm going to say process document. So it's missing the Mistral API key. Pass it the API key parameter, of course. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is ask V0 to see if it can generate actually, I might be able to do this in Cursor, to generate the different API keys that I would need. So yeah, so let's see if I can do that. There should be a console in here too. Console, Vercel URL. Okay. I'm going to go to Cursor and I'm going to go ahead and hit new chat. And so what I'll do here with the agent is ask it the following. I'll say, please help me generate an .env.example file with the different environment variables I will need for this project. And so it's currently selected with agent and certainly selected for auto. And I just wanted to go ahead and basically start cooking on that so that we can understand, you know, what environment variables do we need? And then, so it's basically searching through. Oh, you know what I should have given it is my project rules files for like project structure and AI SDK. Let me go ahead and stop that and do that there. I'm going to go ahead and just drag these two in there for reference. And basically you'll do that there. Yeah, so that way I don't have to tell it what I'm doing as far as like, you know, I'm using the AI SDK, please search there. So now it's actually understanding, okay, now I'm searching the code base. It should be a lot more thorough and detailed here. Hit Command C to stop this thing. And in the meantime, what I'm going to go ahead and do is try to see if I can grab an API key from Mistral to test this out. So that way we can test how this works here. So search code base, auto search. Yeah, let's turn on auto search. So there's a feature apparently in Cursor just to search automatically if it's going to do like a search type of task. All right, kids, let's go. Now we're cooking. Okay, so while it's doing that, let me go ahead and see if I can go ahead and grab some other things here. There should be a green screen effect you can use with TikTok, but not sure how now with lives. Yeah, I'm going to figure this out. I'm still new to TikTok live streaming. I'm still new to like TikTok. But on TikTok, I find it a lot easier to just turn on the camera and just talk about my project or whatever's going on. So that way people can kind of follow along. I'm going to move the TikTok camera and go this way. That way we can kind of interact because there's like, I don't think anyone on TikTok right now. So if they're watching, yeah. All right, cool. Let's see here. All right, cool. So now the camera should follow me on TikTok. Okay. So, okay. Let him cook. What's going on, man? Yo, big shout outs to Tech Friend, dude. He's like the OG of TikTok and AI coding and stuff. So I'm just so happy to have you as a member with the Let Me Cook fam. So if you're on YouTube, you can subscribe. It's like $6.99 and you get that cool little badge. But not only that, you support the channel, which I really appreciate because all this stuff is really helping out me. I spend a lot of money testing all these models and things. So definitely appreciate everyone who's cooking with me. So it's a following audience powerhouse. Yeah. I agree. I like TikTok a lot, actually. Please, how can I get the full prompt? I want to cook myself. Low key, I think you're going to have to go back through my thing and just try to make it up yourself. Right now, I really, to be honest, I don't feel like giving you the full prompt will be very helpful. And for a couple of reasons is one, like that's not how you learn. You're going to learn by watching this and taking some notes and try to apply it to your own problems. That's how you know you've learned. So you can say, Ray mentioned this thing about using O3 language model to do web research. Okay, that's something I have to note. Okay, Ray also mentioned about web traffic. What's the thing he mentioned about web traffic that I need to look up? And like Ray also mentioned something about, existing apps and pain points and keeping them simple. So like those are the main concepts. If you put them in your own words and then you have some general ideas that you already have in the market and you just have it go search for it, that's all you need. You're going to get different results. It's okay. But the intention is there. If you follow this step by step and copy everything, you're not going to learn. You're only going to learn how to copy. And while that can only take you so far, you're going to be way better off to just extract some of those concepts and put them into the language model and try to think them through yourself to understand what the next step is. And then use an AI like ChatGPT to kind of iterate on that yourself. So that way you're in this like feedback loop. And that's how I'm using AI myself. All of this stuff I've learned doing this process, right? And I'm only able to get this far and share this back with you because I feel like you should be able to take these concepts and try to apply them back to yourself. And I feel like that's probably the most important thing here is that like I wouldn't be able to make it this far if I didn't have other people who just show me some basic things and then kind of take it to the next step and take it to the next step. And I don't have an engineering degree. I literally dropped out of school. And, I got to work at Apple because I got to apply these principles, really simple principles, just like that, and keep taking it one step at a time. And eventually you'll get there. You have to put those hours in, but you'll get there. And when I worked there, I spent a lot of hours working on the weekends, working on my own time, trying to understand how that giant system works so that I can solve some good problems. And then I got so proficient in a couple of years that people were hitting me up to solve the craziest problems in the world. And literally like hundreds of millions of dollar problems, like ridiculous amounts of problems. There's like billions of people who are able to update their devices now because of stuff that I've worked on, which is totally mind blowing. You talk about worldwide impact, and it all starts from that curiosity and from not copying other people, but literally trying to take this knowledge and try to apply it into your own learning style, right? There's a reason I dropped out of school is because I couldn't read, which is kind of bonkers, right? And now we're with AI, like we're at totally next level. So I just wanted to pass that on. I feel like that you needed to hear that, and other people who are watching this stream probably needed to hear that too, because that's how we roll, my friends. So yeah, that's what's up. Yo, shout outs to everyone. Much love. Yeah, definitely wanted to try to attend. Thanks. Yeah, this is recorded. So if you're watching this on X, Twitch, or anywhere else, you'll be able to watch this back on YouTube. Also on X, has replay, but it's much easier to discover on YouTube. At Ray Fernando 1337 is the handles. If you're watching this on TikTok, I have my screen on YouTube. So at Ray Fernando 1337, the link is going to be in the bio on TikTok. So you can just go there. You can just go right to my live stream. You'll be able to see this screen that you're watching right now. So that way you can see what's kind of going on there. You should be able to review this live on Ray's YouTube. But wow, yeah, this is even more motivating. Yep, man, dude, trust me. Yeah, like you can do these things. And now I'm in Hawaii chilling, trying to get this challenge completed because I only got 40 minutes left. Let's go. All right. Okay. So, if you want me to create the env file, please temporarily remove env from your git ignore. Oh, okay. Oh, that's nice that Cursor does this. So can you create one named something else? and put those in there. Okay. So what I had to do is basically I'm setting up the .env example file so that the next person who takes on this project will be able to put their own API key in there so they can get this app working as well. So env template. So I'm going to go ahead and say accept. And we have one here. So env temple. Okay. So environment variables, we need the Vercel URL. So when someone deploys this, this will be used for generating the shareable links. I love that it writes all these comments in there. It's so nice, actually. So, okay. And then we have the blob URL store. So written read-write token. So this is the token that we need from Vercel, which is the one that I was showing you earlier over here. Not that I'm showing you the key, but in here, there's a blob read-write token, and that's actually in here. So like, it's amazing. I just point cursor to it. I'd say, here's my rules files that we generated. And then, you know, it grabbed it from those rules files and it even puts it in here for us. And so this is kind of like what I considered a basic app scaffolding. So Mistral AI API key required for the Mistral model via AI SDK, and then Mistral debug true enabled for debug logging for the Mistral SDK. Cool. So I just need to set up some of these environment variables to do a quick run, but I just wanted to make sure my app challenge like parts are kind of set up, because my job was to make the requirements docs that we kind of have here, get the app like stack chosen, which is kind of what we got going on so far. So we have like the Vercel AI SDK. We have like a basic prototype kind of UI looking like thing. And kind of setting up my team for success. So setting up those cursor rules so that way they don't have to spend a lot of time doing it. And then since if they use cursor, they're going to be able to take these rules files and apply them. And you saw how effective that was when we gave it the 2 rules files and say, can you grab and generate an env file? So now I had way more context about the repo because we did that work ahead of time. So all of this stuff kind of helps. And you'll see what happens in the next, with the next 5 developers, right? They're going to take that on one at a time, like a relay race. And we're going to basically keep cooking in this way. So, okay. So now that we got those types of things there, I definitely want to test this, but I want to make sure I meet the app challenge details before I kind of have to, before I move forward here. So, let me kind of go back here. So, we have the scope, the must-haves, the fit in 2 weeks, step time, the tech stack. We kind of already defined. We have the roles, integration plan. We have the licensing IP. Okay. And so, yeah, so I have the requirements docs, planning docs, ideas, prototypes. Lovable prototypes are completely optional, but if you want to have time, we have some of the front-end scaffolding, but I think I'll leave that more to the front-end designer. And then the design system as well, stylized like product landing page can be done. And so I think what could be helpful for the person for the landing page is to give them the ChatGPT link, maybe, so that they can review the copy and maybe generate better copy from what I've done. But maybe I can kind of tee them up for this, right? So maybe I'll do that right now, actually, based off of my chat. And then I'm going to create a folder in here called like marketing. A folder called marketing. Docs. So in here, I'm just going to create a markdown file. So create a new file. Let's see. Landing page copy ideas.md. Okay. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is go back to my Safari and then go back over into here and say, okay, I went with this. I want you to do some research and help generate some landing page MVPs. Sorry, I think, well, there's some research, and I want you to generate, okay, my language is so tough for me right now. Okay, so I want magic. I want you to do some research, and based off this information, give me a couple of personas to target so that we can start selling this MVP to that persona, and define this persona because this is actually going to go into landing page copy. So I want you to be as detailed and thorough as possible. So I think that's going to be super helpful. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is like I'm now giving ChatGPT like this context of all the different ideas we chose and why I chose it. And so now it's kind of understanding that and then taking that forward and going on for here and creating these personas. These personas are going to be the key for us to set up the person who's going to do the landing page copy to be like, okay, I know who the person is we're targeting. And the reason why it's really important to set up personas too is that it's for a couple of reasons, also for design. So because we're designing for someone who is going to be using this type of app, we want to, like, I want the designer who pops in the second phase to also better understand that, like, okay, this is who Ray was targeting, and this is what he meant. And the design decisions you make also are based off of these personas. So if we nail this, then everyone down in the future, like who's going to take this handoff, and be like, yeah, I'm ready to really cook with this too. So, so persona 1, Anna Martinez, the multilingual care coordinator. Income spend, zero pain. So this person has these current objections, why she converts. They're immigrant adults, Jordan Lee, jet set, expat patient. Okay, so this person is like conversational French, professional English. I think what I'll do is like, I'll be more specific because I think this is something that was mentioned is because this actually happened to a friend of mine actually. So I'm going to say, let's focus this persona actually on the person who is traveling and then has an incident while they're traveling in a country in a language they may not be familiar with or speak, and then have to get this document and get it translated so they can work with their doctors maybe in the US or in whatever their home country is. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is like I went back and did the pencil because I wasn't really excited about the output. So the pencil lets you basically edit the prompt, and then we're going to regenerate it. And then so I'm going to say, I want you to do some research based off of the following persona below. I want you to be as thorough as possible. Okay, let's go ahead and go. So I sort of have defined the persona and basically medical translator persona. And maybe I can list some of the pain points and why. It should already know, but it should know from the context up above because of what we've talked about. But maybe I think it's going to do its thing there. So, okay, so now that we have this, what else do we need for someone who's making a landing page to be successful? Because landing page, what's going to make it more successful is literally the copy. Like we can just literally have text, and if the text speaks to that persona, they'll buy instantly because the pain point's already so high, and there's already so many people who are searching for it. So all of this stuff really does help with us here. Do you want to host the landing page separately? We could or we can't. It just depends. It's easy with Next.js to host the landing page in the same app because we can just gate it by the person creating an account, and then they'll be able to, have the app pane revealed. It's kind of a nice thing about React and the way that we can set up the components. We can leverage the same design system, so that way we're not repeating designs across the different things. We can either make a mono repo, but I'll kind of leave that for the other person to kind of decide. But I think it's a really good question to ask, but we don't necessarily have to have a separate page. Okay. Emergency docs abroad traveler. Okay. Yeah, this is a really good one. So it's usually a healthy mid-30s professional vacationing in France when a scooter accident lands her in a Lyon hospital. She's discharged with 5 pages of French-only radiology notes and a prescription list she can't decipher. Her insurer wants English records today. Her primary care doctor at home needs them before clearing her to fly. Google can't handle the medical jargon, and certified translator she quotes 35 to 150 per page. 3 to 5 days. That is nuts. 28 to 55, mix of leisure travelers, digital nomads, exchange students, incident context and frequency signals. Wow. One of 604 flights experienced an in-air emergency. Yo, this is crazy. I need this. This is really great copy. Wow. Okay. Willingness to pay. Ongoing travel pros can be like $14.99 a month with 20 pages included. Appeals to long-term nomads. This is not bad. I like this. This is really, really great. Wow. The hospital gave me a CDs of scans. Who still uses CDs? DeepL worked on one page, but the dosage instructions looked wrong. I can't risk that. Insurance won't reimburse until I send the English copy. I need this tonight. Wow. Next trip doc pack free coupon for every review left. Okay, I like this. Why you should build in 12. Okay, then let's go. So this is just going to go in our marketing docs here. And I'm going to go ahead and show you the preview of what this looks like. So with ChatGPT, what's nice about it is in here, you hit this little copy and it copies it in markdown format. And the reason why I did this marketing doc slash landing page copy ideas is because I wanted to go and do this persona. And so that way the person who takes over this project from me will be able to look in here and understand what our demographic is here. So now that we have that, I also want to go to Cursor and tell it to, let's see, we have this here. I'm going to say at README. Please update the README now that we have this landing page copy ideas so that the developers can go in there and better understand who this is a target fit for. So the developers who take over can go in and understand. Okay, so I'm going to also stage the current changes. I like to use Git a lot just to make sure I have the different changes in here. We have our template file, and then we also have our landing page copy. So I'm just going to make sure that's checked in before updating the README again. So just to, committing all the time is always very helpful. Sync the changes. And then I'm going to go ahead and run this here. So I have about 30 minutes left before I need to basically close this down and hand it off to another person. So we'll see. But I'm going to make sure I get my responsibilities done before I hand it off. So prototypes are completely optional if you want to have time. Ideas for prototypes, user flows, wireframes, and Figma. I feel like this user flow is pretty self-explanatory because of what we're doing. It's like literally translates, like we drop the PDF in. So what I want to do is maybe test out the flow by putting in the API keys and then seeing what that flow looks like. Or maybe if I don't have time in the next 15 minutes to iterate and get something working, maybe I can just define what that could look like. But I think it's pretty clear what our outcome is get the translated document out, get it into a shareable file, and so they can see it and so forth. So yeah, I don't think we have to overcomplicate it, to be honest. The simpler, the better, actually. So if it's simple for them, it's going to be simple for everyone. So, okay. So what did we do with our README? Go back to the README here. I think agents can beat Framer for SEO and customization in the long run. Yes, I guess. I don't know what that means. Okay. So here it says, who is this for? Target persona market fit. Okay, this is great. This is why I like using AI, because now it can update the README. This is something I normally wouldn't do for my own projects, but it's very important, especially if you're working with other people, to keep them in the loop. And typically the README file is where that place you want to do that in. And so as I make these changes, I have to be very cognizant to make sure I dump it in there. And I'm using Cursor with just the default auto agent to do these types of tasks. And it's really, really good at grabbing that context we need for this. This project is designed for travelers, expats, and digital nomads who urgently need to translate official documents, especially medical records while abroad. So this kind of takes a lot of those documents and will save the next person time, because I had that really long ChatGPT chat, and that's probably too long for them to read. So putting in the README here is a really good central place to do this. And so I've outlined the profile, and then even the pain points and stuff, and the market signals. So the jobs to be done, here's what they value, MVP feature list as well, extract, detect language source, simply, yeah, tech stack. Beautiful. Yeah. Because all we did was add this part, which is for more details, see marketing landing docs for the full persona. Perfect. All right, let's commit this, friends. Whoa, we cooked. All right. Let me catch up with the chat too. Hit the plus to stage all the changes. So stage changes. Going to go ahead and commit. I'm going to sync them as well. Man, this is amazing. So we go back in here. We're going to go back to the repo. And so in the repo, I'm just going to show you real quick and make my face small and put myself a little bit to the side here. All right, cool. So what we do have here, oh, let me refresh because it's got the commit here. Whoops. Whoa. Oh, I know what's going on. It's playing a video. It was playing a video of me and my brother. Okay. All right, cool. So, all right, cool. And here we are. Okay. So here we go. So now when the devs are going to open the repo for the first time, they're going to basically see this project. And I selected this project and why, and then who is it for, which is the new like reason and like kind of why we were doing this. So they store documents in Google Cloud, expect mobile first solutions after an accident, sudden illness. This is a really good why. Here's the market signals, the jobs to be done, what they value. So speed, clarity, data security, auto delete encrypted, price transparency, flat per page upfront quote, mobile first, one tap upload. That's nice. For more details, see this. Yes. Upload an image. This is exactly what we want for the MVP. Detect the source language. This. So yeah, it's already in there. This is exactly what the code does. For front-end skeletons in place, file upload selection are implemented, backend logic, below see more for details, how it works. Okay, so this is the structure overview that they can see. This is really great. Damn. Project structure guide. Wow. Oh, so even my rules files are linked. So they can click this rules file and they're taken to the exact structure linked for the details there. Wow. Have to tend to kids. Thank you for the info and the inspiration. Zoe, awesome. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Yeah, we're almost done here. I just want to make sure I think I met all my goals here. So the next steps for the developers are refine the front end, improve the UX and smooth the file upload processing flow, add error handling, loading states, polish the UI, add design branding, backend logic, implement authentication. Nice. Done is better than perfect. I like this project value, by the way. Every dev builds on the last, leave clear documentation, reasoning behind every decision. This is meant to be fun, being read. Okay, cool. So basically, yeah, I think we got the MVP. I basically put the requirements documents in here, and I've also give the person, like all the devs should know kind of who we're really targeting now. It's very, very clear. That's so awesome. Wow. Okay. All the work is streamlined. Yeah. Sheesh. Okay. Whew. Wow. Okay. So I think the next step is to get an API key so we can actually test this model. So let me see if I can kind of do that. What I'm going to do is just show the camera view right now while I go ahead and try to get the API key. And then once I get the API key and figure out what type of thing we need from here, we should be able to see like the different types of things that we should be able to do with this type of thing. So I could see, I think in here, in Mistral, like Mistral has a little thing where it says like API. So if we go API, they have all these different models and stuff. So maybe I can just say, I can give my developers this type of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and go and start a new chat. So I like to start new chats with my language models and with Cursor. And the reason is so that it has new context. I'm not really trying to muddy up the waters and say, I want you to update the README to let the developers know that they should be able to reference the following documentation for the Mistral API. Okay, so I'm just going to do that there. And so that way, the folks who are looking should be able to look in here. And so the one that we're doing is the models. And then the models that we're looking at is list models, update fine-tune models. So in the models list, it should be able to say, let me go to docs here. So bienvenue to Mistral. Okay. And here, OCR document understanding. Okay. I think more specifically, the model that we want is Mistral OCR latest. Ah, okay. So I think what we can go ahead and do is say, this is the, okay. Note developers should reference install documentation. I also want you to update the README for this specific model that we're doing for the OCR document processing. So I'm going to paste this in. And then I also want to tell it about this as well. You should also update the Vercel AI SDK usage.mdc file with the understanding of the OCR document processing URL or processing docs. Okay. So, okay. Let me just do this. All right, fam. Cool. Yeah. So basically what I'm doing is just kind of making sure that the right model is selected and so forth. So OCR model, latest, okay. And then we're going to update this file here too with this here. Cool. Sweet. Let me check in on the Discord as well. How's Discord doing? Oh, the voice in Cursor is crazy. Let's see. Oh, somebody got the new update. Discord's going crazy. Lizzie, welcome. New faces. Who's vibing? Ray Fernando's vibing. Hi, guys. Oh, yeah. People got the new 0.5 update. Oh, voice to Cursor is crazy. Yeah, it's Whisperflow. Yeah, I use a thing called Whisperflow that y'all need to check out, which is pretty fire. So I'm going to show you real quick. I think I got a link for you. It's dub. And that way we can all cook together. So I think it's called Whisper. You can get $15 off with this link, which is pretty awesome. Whisper blog, Whisper vid. Yeah. Whisper, this one. So all you have to do is scan this QR code right now. I know, right? I sound like a salesperson, but this is legit. QR code. I love this thing so much, and I highly recommend everyone you do this. It's worth the $15 a month to me. You see how fast I move here. There's so much. There's a couple reasons why I do this, but I'll explain. So if you scan this thing, or just type in rfer.me/whisper. I'm gonna put this in the chat, and everyone y'all can get this right now. Y'all need to have this because it's such a lifesaver. Let me move this real quick. Okay, over here. Okay, and then let me show you real quick. I'm getting so distracted, but it's so good. It's so worth it. Here, this is the link you need. rfer.me/whisper. That'll basically get you a month. If you pay for Pro, it's $15 a month, I think, or maybe it's less than that if you prepay for the year. But basically, that'll get you 1 month for free. And I mean, I use this all the time. I have so many. I'll show you how many words. It's like crazy the amount of words that I've dictated. It's like, yeah. So like, I've basically done. I've been flowing hard, as you can see. Yeah, let me see right here. So far, I've been using it for like 9 weeks straight, and I do like an average of 123 words a minute, and I've dictated 30,000 words. So that's like 7 legal contracts, if you can believe it or not. So that's pretty amazing. So this will get you there. I really highly believe in this product because it's so damn amazing. Let me hit the folks on Discord with that so that you can check this out. So if you hit that link on the Discord in the chat, I put it in the early events chat or something like that. That's the link that you'll need to get that referral link. And so, yeah, that's the only way. Like it's not like I make money or anything from this. Literally, this is something that they have a referral link that you can do that technically helps support. I mean, there's not really anything that really support. Basically, you get a month free and I get a month free, which is awesome. So I use it so much, especially if you're vibing like this. Unbelievably super helpful. The reason why I chose this is for a couple of reasons. Is one, I found out about this app maybe 6 months ago, and I was hounding the founder to like work on the security, tell me more about these details. They went through, they got all the compliance stuff that they needed, everything, because I worked at Apple, and it's like, yo, this has got to be like, don't train on my data, all this type of stuff. And they're one of the few products that actually, that works really fast, really reliable. They have an iOS version, so on my phone, I get to use it as well. It understands accents and all these different things, which is really amazing. So it does it in all these different languages. And so they're so serious about all the different compliance. The people who they have working for them, like all these people who went to Stanford, these really amazing institutions, their team is really, really, really good, and they iterate and ship really fast. As soon as they got all these other compliance stuff on, I had the founder on, and I talked to him more about it. And I was just so excited that they finally have reached these milestones. And now I pretty much tell everyone, because I have a really high standard for this stuff, and I really don't have any sponsors, actually. I don't have people who are like paying me to talk about any products. And I kind of like it that way right now, because I get to be very authentic about what I'm looking into. And it's just me as an engineer who's very curious looking into these things. So that's just the kind of quality of stuff I do. I use these products like Cursor, V0, because they actually do help my workflow. And you basically have been seeing me cook with this. I got like 12 minutes left or less than that. And I just want to make sure I'm wrapping up, and I'm making sure that I'm using the right model. So what I want to do is give it this type of thing, and then maybe do a quick code review of the actions file to make sure that we're using the document processing workflow in the way that it should be defined. Because right now I haven't even done a test, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to work the way that I want it to. Because it's not using the OCR model that I want. And I want to have this in there in my notes at the very minimum, so that if I don't get to this by the end of this stream, that the next person can take this on. And so, okay, so now I'm going to hit accept all and just make sure. Okay, so now it has information in the Git file. Yeah, so all of this stuff is in there. Okay, so the README, open file. Okay, so in here, we have this different stuff. These are the changes. Yeah, stage changes. We gave it the information. So now it clearly states that the project uses the OCR latest model, and developers will be directed to the official documentation, and now includes a dedicated section in our file here about the OCR document processing. So it knows more about this. And then once I commit this, I'm going to make another change, and just to make sure that our actual code is using it as well, because our code is technically not using it. So I just want to make sure we're good. Okay. So I want to make a new chat, and then I want to say, so here's where I'm going to try to use like the first non-agent or the non-auto model. So I'm going to say in max mode, enable max mode, take all my monies. Okay, so in max, I want to do Claude Sonnet Max, O3 Max only. Let's go. DeepSeek R1. I want to do Claude Sonnet Max. Yeah, let's see. Okay. So in our actions file, I want to make sure that I'm using the actual documentation from. Okay. I want you to do a code review and make sure okay, here we go. I want you to do a code review and make sure that we're using the correct Mistral OCR model that is now defined in the Vercel AI SDK usage MDC file. And here is where you can find the documentation about it. And then, so we're basically giving it the file that we talked about with the project rules. And then I'm also going to give it this project structure as well. So that way it knows about my project structure when the agent is running, and we're giving it the max model. So basically giving it the max amount of tokens to use. And because I feel like this is going to be a really big task, and I want to make sure I fill up that context window and get everything as much as possible running here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that, and there's nothing else to change. Okay, so we're good. We're really cooking. All right, we got 10 minutes left. Yeah. Okay, while that's going, I'm going to try to see if I can get these API keys filled out. And so the way that I do that is I go into, I'm going to cp .env what is it? .b.template to .env.local. And cp basically is a copy command, and it's not working because it's probably not in that directory. cp .env. Oh, I think it's not .env, it's env template to .env.local. So if you do the dot in front of it, basically makes it a hidden file. So that's why. All right, cool. All right, so this is awesome. So let me just go ahead and kind of take that away. So what's going on right now is I basically told it to, hey, this is the actual model that I want to implement. And I'm using Cursor to do this instead of V0, is because I find Cursor to be really, the agent is really, really good now. And I find it to be extremely efficient because it's going to reference all of the API spec. I can give it documentation like this, and I find this iterates a lot faster. And because of all these different rules files that we have set up now, it's going to be able to go through and really understand the exact changes we've done. So now the agent is finished, and we can take a look here and see what's up. So it says, in actions, I noticed the code is using Mistral OCR for processing. Okay. It is? It's not though, right? It's using Mistral large latest. However, according to we should be using OCR latest model specifically for OCR tasks. The model's optimized for document. Yes. Okay. So there we go. Okay. Now it's made the code change. This is great. There's a type of error because content field expects a string type. Okay. So the content field, where's that? Okay. So when I point to this file, what Cursor did is it read the types for the AI SDK. And you can see these are the types files that are in there. And that's why I like TypeScript, because it's like you already know before you push the code of production whether it's going to work or not, because it's defined in those type files. And it's expecting this type of string message. And so it's telling us like, hey, there's a type error because it expects a string and we weren't giving it a string or something like that. So I see that we need to use a different API call format. Since we're using the adversarial AI SDK, let me check the AI SDK documentation. Did a web search, it says, aha, this is how we should do this. There's still an error based on my search. I see that we need to update our code properly to use the OCR model and the AI SDK. So it gives it a data file, blob, Mistral. Okay, good. Index file here. Let me just kind of review this code real quick. Okay, so what it did was change the type file from document URL to file, match the AI SDK format. That's interesting. How's that going to work with our blob storage? Added the proper metadata, including data, maximum number of images to process. Okay. Which specifies using Mistral OCR. Okay. So let's just take a look real quick at this code. I only got like 5 minutes left. Okay, so file, English. Okay. We have these options. This all looks the same. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and make sure we commit this. Stage the changes, commit, sync. Okay. So I'm almost nearly done with my part of the challenge. I just wanted to make sure that the person who took over at least was able to know that I want to use specifically the OCR latest file. And so we're giving it, the file type, the blob URL. Okay. And the page is this. Okay, file uploader. Great. Okay. Cool. So yeah, this is back to the app here. App challenge. Okay, so far we have everything. I'm gonna try to see if I can get some of these SDK keys so that I can go ahead and make them work here. So there's a Mistral one, and then there's a Vercel URL because I haven't really deployed this yet to Vercel, but maybe I could do that. So yeah, maybe I'll do that right now, actually. That way we'll just get it all working. But I want to test this locally. So I think Vercel URL. So in our actions template, yeah, so if this is running locally, it's just going to do a localhost / share or whatever. Is that going to work? Because the blob store is not live yet, right? Shareable link. In real app, this would be a proper URL. Okay. I should just deploy this. Someone's calling me. Okay. So I have 4 minutes left. Let me just check everything real quick. I think we're good to go though. All the code's checked in. Just to make sure I didn't miss anything. I feel like I'm missing something, but I don't know. All right. Hopefully the next person isn't really like upset with me. You know, as far as like what we're gonna be doing here. Okay. So I'm gonna from your phone. Okay. So, that was another one I wanted to show. This MCP server for Contact 7, but we didn't really need it today because we were just building an MVP. So we have this chat, right? Okay. We have the Mistral. We have the OCR documentation, which I did give to everyone. And then let me just go back to the repo just to make sure I have everything we need and that it kind of makes sense. So I'm just going to look at this from like the developer perspective because I only got 3 minutes left before I hand this off here. So let's see. Okay. So 6 devs, 1 project. Well, developers should reference the Mistral API documentation for details on available endpoints, request formats, and model usage. And then I think it's, bun lock file. I think the project uses Mistral for document scanning. It extracts the structured text from PDFs and images, formatting, returns markdown, see OCR documentation for details. So this takes it to perfect. And then as far as API documentation, this is just kind of the API. And then let's see. Great. So this is just about the project. And then this is the task that I was tasked with to select the project. The document translator, AI powered image thing. Upload PDF, why? And this is kind of why. Who is this for? Which is pretty good. Jobs to be done. Landing page ideas. Full persona, pain points, and market research. Great. Translate the extracted text. So yeah, this is the feature list. So upload an image, extract it, detect source language, translate, store, generate a shareable link, simple friendly user interface. We're using Next.js, React for the functional components, CSS for styling, AI SDK, Vercel blob. Let's go. Clean, minimal, design direction. Yeah. Handoff plan for dev 2, front-end skeleton's already in place. Upload, language selection, display, result and display are implemented. Backend logic for processing documents is here. See below for more details and structure. Workflow looks pretty good. So the project overall structure, user uploads an image to PDF via UI, uploaded blob style and polemic URL is generated. AI SDK is used to extract the file, detect the source language, translate the text, and the results are generated to the next thing. And so the key files and directories are here. This explains everything. So the handles the action TS file, basically handles the upload and processing and translation and link generation. So the person who will implement Auth will basically be able to understand that, hey, this is the file I should protect as far as a route so that people who are authenticated, have access to this type of thing. And, I purposely didn't set up the database or any other type of backend scaffolding because I want to leave that to that person to really think through all the different cases. But I just kind of wanted to get this basic thing set up here. And as far as like a share ID is kind of generated, I mean, I did set up a database. Technically, I set up a blob store, but it's nothing really too heavy in terms of data entities or structures for users and the other type of things that I would normally set up. Components and UI are kind of all in here as far as like, who's going to be handling what and like the actual features. Utility functions, static, global files, package.json, has the dependencies that we need. Boom. Okay, I think that's it. 2 hours. implementation details, we cooked, fam, right? Yeah. Next step is refine this error handling, and we're Gucci, right? Yeah. 2 hours before handing off work. Here's the full relay. I think I got everything in here that we need. Dang. I think we did it, right? I was actually very surprised. I wasn't sure whether this was going to be possible or not, to be honest. I was like low key. I didn't really know what to think, to be honest. I just said, yeah, sign me up for the challenge. I think we could do this thing. So, okay. So for people who are just tuning in right now, what exactly is going on and what are we doing here? So the goal of this whole thing is that we have 6 devs with 1 project to do. And we actually have to ship an app by the last dev who touches. It's like literally a marathon stream, right? So 2 hours is all I got to set up the project. I chose the project, the MVP, figure out the requirements, and choose the stack and everything. Now the next dev needs to take this on, figure out the next step, what it's going to be like landing page, design, other types of things. So we're going to have someone figure out authentication. So each of these developers are going to take on the task, either using AI like the way I was using, or just straight up coding by hand, or just being a savage and just kind of like showing up and just, destroying the whole thing and just like making this work all in one shot, right? Like everyone has different skill sets here. And the goal is like, I don't even know this other person who I'm handing this off to. So I had to write every single type of thing that I'm doing to make sure that this next person can take this code in this project and hand it off, with the goal of shipping this app on Product Hunt so that people can actually go try the app, download it, pay us some money. And so there's going to be like some type of payment processing. There's going to be a database. There's going to be authentication. There's going to be all this stuff. And you've just watched me do the entire layout of how I think about setting up an app, like a really basic MVP here, like the direction of the different ideas. So there were 6 different ideas and we chose one. I used ChatGPT to make sure that I would understand, like, did I choose the right idea? Is this the right niche that we're going down? Because if I get all these engineers 12 hours worth of engineering time and we spend it and the opportunity is like really small, then to me, it's like, well, I'd rather actually make money from this and figure out which of the top ideas here that they should make money from. So that's kind of the reasoning that we did there. I was using Cursor to help me in the AI coding assistant. We used V0 to set up the initial prototype and the idea. And you got to see how I work with my workflow. So with my workflow, instead of writing these product requirement docs, I actually just like to go straight up into an MVP right off the get-go from the research. So research the things, making sure that the problem is viable, go into the market, see what it is, just get some initial, hey, there is a wave over there. We should go surf that and go in that direction. And then start heading in that direction. And the way that I do that is popping over into V0. And then in V0, I typed in like my requirements. So if you want to continue to watch this back, this is available on YouTube. So you can play this back from the very beginning. You can kind of see this process. It's literally the 2-hour live stream. I'm going to process this. I have an app called Ray Transcribe. So I'm going to run my app through this, get the transcription with the timestamps, and I'm going to actually give you the timestamps for it so that you can actually see the different chapter markers of where you should go to those different parts of the app. So that's me generating the MVP and everything. And then from that, we're able to, generate the scaffolding for the app. Out of V0, I just downloaded the zip file and we use Cursor to load up the file there and push it up to Git and sync it and so forth. And that's kind of what we use from there to generate the documentation. And you got to see me walk through and how I use the agent to generate this documentation and read through the different files. And so the most important thing we did there, especially for me, there's this /generate cursor rules files. So in Cursor, the agent can generate these files for us, which is super handy. So the developers can understand what the project structure is. From there, we generated a specific file because we're using the Vercel AI SDK and we're using very specific models. It's really important to define in the documentation that detail so that the agent or another human being can take over that project, because I could be handing this over to someone who just really has very low code experience. But with AI plus low code, they now have the superpower they didn't have before. And because I defined, this type of thing in the documentation, that's going to really help the agent as it's searching through this repo to make sure that they can deliver not only the product on time, but at least with good enough value. And this is kind of a preview of using AI to help with our workflows to think about shipping code this way. And so for me, as I'm doing this project, what this taught me was the fact that this is going to be the future as far as like thinking about code and arranging it. So either another AI agent can touch the code and take over, or another person who has, similar coding experience or just various coding experience can use AI with themselves and see if they can take it to the end. So this is part one of like 6. There's 5 more developers left. So they're going to have streams, I think, throughout the week. So maybe tomorrow, a person will do a 2-hour stream, or a couple days from now. So make sure you stay tuned. You can follow me on X, RayFernando1337, if you want to kind of check that out. I post a lot about what I do with AI coding. I'm currently doing a 100K challenge for myself. I'm actually trying to see if I can take my app, Ray Transcribes, and make my first, $100,000 online. I'm using these techniques that I just did here. In fact, this is probably the first time I've ever done something like this, actually. I've never done it all in 2 hours. So you've got to witness it firsthand, and really appreciate everyone who's been able to tune in, kind of hang out with me. So big shout outs to Alberto, who's also a member. So if you're interested in becoming a member, you can do that down below on YouTube. You can hit the join. It's just $6.99 a month. You become a part of Ray Fernando's little crew here. You get the little badge as well. And I'm going to be adding little emojis and things. But basically, I call it Let Me Cook. And you'll be able to cook with me, hang out. I have a little bit of a Discord thing that I'm going on. I'm going to start a community pretty soon as well. We also have the community stuff that's going on as well. And currently it's about 106 here in Hawaii. You can kind of see the sunlight. It's going to be some time to go outside, and enjoy the sun. So big shout out to also the people who are on Discord. It's called Vibe Panda. I'll see if I can get a Discord link there as well, so y'all can join in on that. And because we're going to have some other folks join in on there as well. Let's see if I can find anyone else on here. So, okay, so we basically have cooked. So that's pretty much the really high level summary there. Gabrielle is giving me the Discord link here. Let me see if I can pop this into the chat so that people can get this. Copy text. Okay. So I'll put this in here. I know it's like a really weird link. I might give a shortened URL as well, so that way people can see. But as of now, I'm going to do this here. That way people can see it. All right, cool. So if you want to join, that's a really funny link there. But that's the Discord link called Vibe Panda. So Vibe Panda is kind of where this is being broadcast right now for this challenge. And so this challenge is being broadcast on that Discord. On the live stream. So you'll get to see the handoff to the next developers for this specific project. As far as this project on GitHub, I think this is a public repo. Okay. So the people can actually see the repo right now and start cooking with it. Okay. So yeah, dang, this is, we hopefully this is going to be good enough for the next developer. I think this is, I did the best that I could do in 2 hours, and, we're just getting started, and I'm really hopeful that this idea, to be honest, I haven't even tested it myself. I probably could have taken some time to do that and refine the API, but I wanted to make sure I had at least the documentation in place and all these different rules files and stuff set up so that the next developer can take this and really just kind of fly with it. Because I think once this is kind of like the longest part. It's just getting all the stuff scaffolded. Because the next thing is kind of really where you see all the magic taking place, right? It's like, I got the big block pulled out from the mountain. I put it onto the actual studio. Now people are going to start chiseling away and kind of defining what this really looks like. So we're going to see the transformation. Like, we need a landing page. We need authentication. We need these other features, so like Stripe and so forth. So definitely stay tuned in if you want to check that out, because these boys are about to cook, and we got some really talented folks all doing stuff. So, and everything will be achieved and organized. So cool. Let's see if I can get someone like Thomas. Are you online, Thomas? Are you here? Let's see.
I am here, but it's not Thomas. I'm his roommate.
Okay.
I also participated in the sprint with you guys as well, but he just told me to take over for any internal.
Okay, let me put on my headphones too, so that other folks can hear it on the stream. Let me get this here going as well. So, test. Ooh. Oh wow. My voice sounds crispy online. Let's see. Let me change this here to Roadcaster chat. All right. Hello, Thomas's roommate.
Yeah, I'm Emery. I've been active in like the Discord and the YouTube chat.
Okay, cool. Yeah, do you want to share some
yeah.
more inside baseball on this challenge right now so that people who are watching maybe some things that I haven't covered yet?
I think probably Gabrielle is probably the right person to ask. Like I got roped in because we are typically vibe coding over the weekends, and he was
Ah,
like, "Hey, I have this pretty sweet idea." I was like, "Yeah, that sounds really good." I guess the motivation was just seeing what's possible. I know the sponsors, the company Imaginary Spaces, which is what Thomas is working on as well. So I think he's
mm,
just trying to get the awareness around vibe coding and what's possible and build the community. Like that's from the context I could pick up as his roommate.
ah.
But it's probably better he talks about it himself.
Oh, that's cool.
um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I just found out about it through this guy named No Code Dan. So huge shout out to No Code Dan. He's the one who hooked it up with that thumbnail down there, super crispy. It's like that's the goal, make it a pile of cash, right? Setting everyone up for success. I'm really hoping that we can really cook with this because I think it's going to just be absolutely like fire if this really does take off. And becomes its own thing, right? So yeah, I think that's the premise. You know me, I'm always down to code and help out. And when my boy hit me up, he's like, "Yo, you want to?" It's like I think you'd be perfect for this. I was like, "All right, cool." And then I just had a meeting yesterday, and kind of going over this challenge is like, "All right, I guess I'll go first. I don't care. Like let's just go." So yeah, I kind of like this
Yeah,
beginning
that's
phase.
great.
Yeah,
It was really fun to see this process, especially all of the different tools you have. Like
right.
talking about just MCPs as well. I haven't really dove into those yet, but like now I'm pretty motivated to go and check out the space. Uh, so
That's
well done.
cool. Yeah. MCPs, I didn't really use them that much here, but I do find that if I have too many enabled, it sucks up some of the context. And so for folks who are using MCP servers, you have all these tool calls that are available. So it's kind of sometimes like if you have too many in there, it's like a roulette wheel and it could choose a tool that you may not expect. And that can kind of send the model off to a different place. So I tend to be very intentional and sometimes just turn them off until I really need one and then kind of turn it on and kind of reference it. And so that's just another way to be really, really kind of good and precise. You can, for me, I can get away without a lot of MCPs, but I'm definitely experimenting with this one called Context 7, especially for documentation that isn't really well defined. Or if I give it documentation like that URL I gave for Mistral, if it didn't return back the results I wanted, I would have found an alternative or grabbed snippets of code and just gave it saying, please implement this or something like that. So yeah, dang,
Yeah,
this is awesome. Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
sweet, sweet. Yeah, I don't know if Thomas had any like final remarks, but both of
Okay.
us were like sitting here really excited about like seeing how it's actually taking shape. One other comment I would say the scoping, having ChatGPT actually process the initial projects, that was pretty smart. Like I would have not have expected to do that. I probably would have just played
Oh
what
yeah.
it thought was the viable and most utilized product. So that was a very cool thing to see as well. So that was also like exciting.
I'm so impressed with the ChatGPT o3 model. Okay, I was like a big Claude fan forever, and especially with the web search, I was like, oh, it's so over. And then ChatGPT drops the o3 model. I was like, this model, so it's like now my default for nearly everything. And I was not that big of a fan of like the other models. And like, I love the o1 model. I would use o1 Pro. I paid the $200 a month just so I could use o1 Pro because it was really, really good. The only downside was that it took so much time. But now with o3, the web search, I don't even have a Perplexity account anymore because o3 web search is so good and so thorough. It's just ridiculous. Like,
Yeah,
damn.
you put me on. I was doing some of my own prompting over here based off of like some of the things that you showcase and seeing it actually do the thought process and touching those different websites and being able to refer back to it. And another thing is additionally questioning the user, like can you provide more context about the question itself? I feel like it gets a lot more engaging and you're able to really dive deep into what exactly you want to answer. So again, Well done.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. I'm so excited, and yeah, I guess for anyone who's watching, this is kind of the stuff I like to do. I just got settled here in Hawaii, so I'll be here for a couple more weeks. But my goal is to do more live streams. I feel like I've been going into a cave and kind of researching a lot and playing around with these models. So this is kind of like the first day of me like actually live streaming from Hawaii. And I want to cook more because this really gave me that motivation. It's like I need to show people more and more of this thing. And I think my next live stream is going to be taking a look at some of these things called like browser base to do like browser automation. And then some other stuff I got coming up are going to be using Cursor. And like Cursor has a thing called background agents. So that's something I didn't set up for this or I didn't have time, but I thought about it, which was like you can literally give it a feature in Cursor. And Cursor will basically, let me see if I can show you real quick. I mean, I'm not going to set up for this repo, but I'll show you what this looks like. So in Cursor, there's this thing called background agents, this little cloud icon. So this background agents that you'll set up, you can give it the feature and it will cook in the background in its own environment and just keep going.
Wow.
And it's in the new 0.05 thing. And so it basically sets up a cloud on Amazon servers with like its own Ubuntu Linux environment. And you can have it basically act like an engineer. So if I had time, maybe if I was doing this solo, like a speed run would just be like act as a UI designer and just use this branch of code and just keep like working on the design iteration following these good design guidelines. So on my GitHub, this is like extra sauce for anyone who's watching right now. If you've made it this far, like you're the real MVP because you really want the sauce. And I'm going to give you the sauce right now. So as a reward for people who's staying, I have a thing called LLM Cursor Rules on my GitHub. And in here, one of the ones that I have is for, I think I called it Fire My Designers, rayfernando.ai. I made a really baity post saying I fired my designer and people got so upset. And it's like, it's not really how I roll, but I had to stop and get people's attention because this was literally groundbreaking because it changed
game a little bit, you know.
It got almost 1 million views. It's insane, bro. So the design review, these are my rayfernando.ai. I have these design review guidelines. I fired my design team. AI does their job now. Of course, it's so baity, it's so ridiculous, but it's so true. No, I was like, no, but this is what I want to give a background agent. Now that background agents have arrived, basically this one prompt has a whole design style guideline. So like typography sizes and making sure it iterates through the design, because when the AI code generates code, it doesn't always thoroughly think through what a design system it should adhere to. It'll just do whatever it's in its training set. And so when I get the code out, I want it to like do a further refinement. And I don't necessarily need to do it myself. I can just give this to a background agent saying, hey, I want you to go through all the files. Here's the design template that I want you to kind of follow. This 8-point grid system. This is what I do for my color rules. This is like a clear structure that I want you to follow. I'm using Tailwind 4 now, you know, like this is kind of the things that I want to, and this is kind of like the new CSS. I also teach it about Tailwind 4 so they can kind of iterate and stick to that design system. And then like say only use for font weight sizes, because you'd be surprised when the AI generates code, it does all these different sizes. And it just keeps going and stuff. So it's really, really, really good. And you can iterate pretty fast. That's the whole prompt. Like this is the whole thing. It's like here, make sure. So another thing I like to do for my agents is when they're running, I give them a checklist. So at the very end, they checklist themselves. And if they're not done yet, they just keep going through the checklist to make sure that they meet all these criteria. And the reason why I structured like this is because I was already thinking ahead. I didn't really think that there would be these background agents this quickly, because I was thinking about more opening a separate cursor window and kicking off a script. Now I just give it that and just pretty much let's go. So
have you taken a pre-existing code base with new style changes and have this work in the background to restructure? Because like I think one of the biggest things is taking legacy code and trying to update it with AI is pretty frustrating, because you lose a lot of the initial context. So you want to like, especially when I'm trying to push changes on using like post-hoc feature flags, and I'm trying to sustain some legacy context with some new features, then I start seeing a lot of issues when it's maintaining that old code base as well. Do you have
Wow.
anything to say about like that specific thing?
Yeah. So the bigger the code base and the older it is, I feel like the more hands-on you have to be honest, right now,
Yep.
because you really have to know which files are involved. And so you can do a couple of things. Is one is it's really important, especially if you're like kind of starting out, to create documentation for yourself. So create it for you, like literally create a .md file saying, project structure, and just I call it like the code review for you, and use the AI agent like in Cursor or wherever, ChatGPT, whatever your favorite thing is, and just tell it like, I want to find all the places where the post hoc feature flag is. I want to find the places where these types of things are affected. Can you help me grab those files and show me, like, because this is my eventual desired outcome. And so you're basically hand building this documentation for yourself, really. And this document will be the document that you will use to update, but then you can keep passing that into the agent at various times. And because what Cursor will do, and same with Windsurf, is that they'll run these scripts on the code base. And Cursor actually has models that are running in the background that aren't ChatGPT or anything else. They have custom defined models that run on your code base all the time in the background. So when they get a file like that, they'll automatically have all of this like embeddings knowledge and also different knowledge about the project structure. They don't actually surface this, but this is what I've learned from talking to the Cursor team. When you give it that file and you're saying, okay, now I want to achieve this outcome, it'll help you build your understanding of your world of that code base, and then help you make sure that you don't miss any specific files. And then as you see like, oh, wait, what about this directory? You can ask the question and then see if it can read through and try to understand it. Because if you may not fully understand the code base, and you can even ask other questions like, what are the things that I still need to know? Or what questions that am I not asking yet that I should be knowing about this code base or this structure? It's like, oh yeah, or like, what is the actual design pattern that is used for writing this code base? It's like, oh, we're using a factory pattern. And so like, it's going to throw out this computer science term. Like, I've never heard of a factory pattern. What is that? And so it can explain that to you. And then it actually helps the model in the future. It's saying, please update this file to say that we're using this new factory pattern. And it's like, yeah, this is how we stamp out the code for these types of features. And this is what the developer was using before. And, this is kind of what I can see. So then, like going forward, that's now one of your key terms that you're going to keep referencing in the future. So now it starts to actually like be more aware of those patterns. So yeah, it's a combination of like, I guess the long story short, build a file for you mostly, but that you can have this ongoing conversation with an agent to help repeat it.
Yeah. I think I was trusting too much. Another thing I noticed is I typically keep my agent continually running, but I think I'm over abusing the context because at some point it just gets so mushed up, right? And it starts even underperforming, I feel like, for what the value of like a Claude 3.5 actually has or 3.7 has. It starts like giving me GPT-4 mini code level like of understanding, which is disappointing. But I think maintaining that documentation so it's able to track and tag all of my files probably a better approach in the long run.
Yeah, because you're basically trying to compress the knowledge. So there's something I want to share that I learned from my friend Eric Provencher. He runs this app called Repo Prompt, and I learned so much about prompting just using that app. And what he discovered was you can have these apps that have like 128K, 256K token context windows. So people just like to shove the code in. But there's actually this concept called the effective context window. That could be something like 32,000 to 64,000 tokens. So maybe a quarter or maybe an eighth the size of, the proposed context window. And so what that means, just like what you're saying, is like, wait, it's not even reached the threshold of 128,000 tokens. This repo is only 30,000 tokens. Why is it not performing so well? It's like, well, the effective token context window could just be like 32K or 16K. And that just means like that's the most effective. And the benchmarks that you see are probably only using the effective context window, or they're only testing a feature of the language model that's really good about picking apart certain things when you give it a bunch of tokens. But for any other types of task like that we need to do for coding, it doesn't do it that well. which is why people have these like vibes mismatch expectations. And so that's just something to keep in mind. So for you, how do I take that now that I have this knowledge of what can happen and apply it? It's like you can create new chat windows, and something that I was doing here in the stream, I was creating new windows, new chats, just to kind of like clear it all out and make a thing. The other thing that I find really effective, like I wanted to do something with documentation to update the API, I use the Max model. So the Max model with Cursor will give it additional context window, and Cursor kind of just gets out of the way with their other stuff, so they don't fill the context window with things, so that the model feels a little more intelligent. And the way I like to use it also is I use the Max model. I use like a narrow defined thing. If I don't really know the exact surgical implementation yet, sometimes I'll work on this like scratch pad, like you say. I'll create a .md file saying, okay, I want to make this new feature, and like, how do I build this, right? Like grab the documentation and help me piece together this like lengthy document. And then I'll create a new window and I'll give it the new documentation and say, okay, now I want to implement this.
Yeah.
Now that I know the code base, please grab these files, and I'll either grab the files and put them in the context window. And then Cursor, really, the output's just so beautiful. It's always really good. Yeah.
See, but you are moving towards keeping it outside of that prompting window, because that is additional space, I guess. Because I do it with the ask function a lot, like asking and kind of helping it draft the same way Lovable had their, I don't know, implement button and like a separate button to actually make changes, like agent versus ask. But I guess you're saying that it's a little bit better to have it do that internally within a scrap documentation as opposed to just internally within its prompt window. Do you feel like there's a difference there with your experience, or is it one and the same?
I think it depends, right? So I would say try.
Okay,
Yeah, like that's what's weird. Like, because the models will behave differently. Like the Google Gemini Max model to the Claude Sonnet. Like I was using 3.7, and there's even a difference when you're using between inside of Cursor and then outside of Cursor. So I find the model performed the best when I used repo prompt. And then I copied that and put it into the actual like ChatGPT or Claude Sonnet 3.7. The performance was like night and day difference. It was like massive. Like I got the intelligence of the model from the Claude 3.7. And meanwhile, all my vibe coding friends are like, oh, 3.7 sucks. And it's like, yeah, because you're using it in Cursor. And so sometimes like they had not had time to tune the model, right? Like when Claude Sonnet 3.5 dropped last year, like right around this time, they had like months to tune that thing. So when I was using it in August and vibe coding, like that was like gold. Like that was the era. That was the golden era. It's like everything was fine tuned. It was like so beautiful and perfect. And then the new behavior drops. They still need that time to catch up. So they're still like, they've just now are like kind of catching up to that. And then, so like there's a lot of different implications. So I would just say try, if anyone's out there, just to try these different things and these techniques. To see what kind of works. Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. I think that's enough of me speaking for Thomas.
No, I think these are solid questions. I'm so glad to have you on. And this is coming from Discord, by the way. So the people who are tuning in on Twitch and on YouTube and so forth, you may not be able to see him. But this is like on the Vipanda chat. This is basically part of the challenge. And this Thomas's roommate, I forgot your name again.
Emery,
yeah. Emery stepped in to kind of like answer some questions and kind of give a little bit of a recap here as well. And, just sharing his experience and everyone who's got to watch. So if you want to watch this back, Ray Fernando 1337 on YouTube is probably the best place to do this right now. When I finish, this is going to be up there. I'll update the notes as well. And we covered a lot of different things. We got some of the extra sauce. This is like bonus section, of the conversation talking about just kind of our experiences. And yeah, stay tuned because hopefully we can make $1 million a month. Are you down, Emery?
I'm super down.
Let's go. So yeah, huge shout out to Liz Charles as well. Ola from SF. Yo, Ola from Mahalo from Hawaii. I'm about to go outside and catch some waves and go swim with the turtles and stuff. It's really good. It's probably it's 80 degrees. It's so good right now. So yo, Emery, thank you so much for kind of popping in there. Huge shout out to everyone on Discord, the Vipanda Discord. Y'all are killing it. Thank you so much for your participation. Huge shout outs to people on TikTok right now. Y'all are watching. I know I didn't get to show a lot of the screen, but if you want to see that, definitely check out Ray Fernando 1337 on YouTube for the vibes. Twitch, I love you so much. YouTube, the best. X, y'all know what y'all are out there vibing. So definitely appreciate everyone. Stay tuned because I'll have some more information on how this repo goes, and I might meet my 100K challenge like in the next week, right? Just based off this app idea, which is pretty awesome. And you never know where your next $1 million can come from, right? So we'll see. All right, Ray Fernando 1337. Thank you so much. You can find me, and I'll see you soon. Peace out, y'all.